Yo, yo, yo. How's everybody doing this morning? Word Justice here. We're just going to kick off the morning with talkative try video here from last night. If anybody missed it, we're just going to kind of briefly go into some of the questions he asked Jonathan Rogers on POE2. I've made a decision myself what I'm going for starter class and ascendancy for the monk. I'm going to start off the season launch, I guess, season or whatever you want to call it, league launch. I'm going to go with monk, and I'm thinking I'm going to go invoker. So probably going to start off with that. As far as I seen, I'm kind of making my own custom build here. Right off the hop. So I'm going to go with Killing Palm. And then we're going to go with Glacial Cascade. Wave of Frost. Falling Thunder. Flicker Strike. Freezing Murk. Arctic Armor. Tempest Bell. And Vaulting Impact. So that's what my starting skills will be for the monk, and then I'll my ascendancy. I'll spec into the invoker for the tree there. So overall about the class, I'm sure a lot of you have seen videos, but the class, the range is about average. This is from Mobalytics, just from what they've gathered from their inside sources. Complexity, it's going to be easier than some of the others to gear up. It's going to be, it says a little demanding, and then you once you get a lot of the gear for your monk, then he'll just be flying. So his speed, very fast. Clear time will be good. Tankiness is good. So he's a well-rounded build. So his ratings is pretty good. Again, I'm going to be going monk invoker. He does a lot of combos, chaos elements. He's always, you're going to want to spec into dexterity and intelligence. That's all what he's about. He does a lot of magic and dexterity for combos, speed. You can go two different routes: invoker or acolyte of the Chayula. Going invoker. Invoker is an elemental damage-oriented monk that can use a special form, Unbound Avatar. This is the route I'm going to improve the damage and apply more elemental alignments on enemies. The invoker also shoots out waves of elemental damage, which you've seen, like he'll shoot out a good AoE damage of like ice shards, and he does a lot of critical strikes. So a lot of the damage is going to be based around critical damage. Invoker also double the energy shield, which can improve stability significantly. This ascendancy will be great for energy shield stacking, elemental oriented playstyle. So this is the route I'm going to go. I feel very confident that I can do well with this kind of character, as that's kind of more what I like for my game style of play, like kind of close combat, quick movement, dodging. The cool thing too, you get the bell, which I have on for some of my skills here. I haven't spec'd into any of my other support skills, but the Tempest Bell. So that you put the bell, and it does like you do your combos, hits into the bell, and then it does a big blast around a certain proximity. So like good AoE, melee duration, the Nova AoE. So requires 4 combats to use limit 1 bell. Lose combo if you generate no combos for the first 8 seconds. Hello. Thanks for the first chat there. Hello, when is PO2 officially released? Not early access. Okay, so not early access. They said it was going to be 6 months after early access is released. So if it's starting December 6th, then What are we looking at here? 6 months after. So January, February, March, April. Yeah, it'd be June, sometime in June, I guess. They said officially 6 months after early access. So I don't know if that's going to be like right on the same day, but that's safe to say sometime right before probably June or July. They don't have official confirmation on that, but they did say 6 months after release. So when that releases the full access, yeah, that's going to be, you get all the classes, all 12, and then everything's going to double bosses, enemies, everything. Probably more end game. They'll be doing a lot of hot fixes. They'll probably do leagues in between there. So there'll be still a lot of content. What are you thinking for your first class? How do I say your name? Ed Bukins. I said that right. Are you excited for Path of Exile early release? Are you going to be playing December 6th? It took me a while to figure out what class I was going to go, but officially I am going to go Monk and we're going to go Invoker. I've just done a lot of like my own personal research and my game style, like what I like to play. I like up close, like combat, massive amounts of like AoE damage. I like combos. I like still being able to like possess, like being able to use certain elements. Like you can use ice, lightning. You can kind of really do anything and make your own custom build. So it's a good all around like fun character. I think that's going to be good. But it has as well, like Mobalytics gave it a pretty good rating overall. The range is kind of like, in between. Complexity, this is demanding, but speed, fast. It's going to be good for like running expeditions. It's going to be good for other game style or gameplays in end game. Probably like Delirium. It's going to be clear time's going to be good. Tankiness, it's like good. So you want to like not be able to like get one hit and stuff. So I think it's going to like, you can build spec into defense and resistances, but it's going to be overall, I think, a solid choice. I see a lot of people thinking of going like Chayula, but I think that's going to be like a really demanding build. You're going to have to like really spec more into like leeching. Because I think your mana is just going to deplete very fast. I think he's going to be a little squishy compared to the Invoker, just based on the Ascendancy tree. So you're going to have a little more defense in the Invoker tree than you will the Chayula. I think Chayula will be a little stronger, but he has his tankiness. It says he's it's going to be, I guess they won't show the actual Ascendancy part of it, but overall pretty decent. I think a lot of people like first time to Path of Exile 2 will probably be going like Warrior just to play it safe. All around he's going to be really good. His clear, tankiness, his damage is going to be good. His defense is going to be good. But my gameplay style is going to be Monk because I like the mobility, combos, dexterity, intelligence. It's kind of like a in between sorcerer and like a melee fast fighting kind of like I guess combo of a warrior and Sork, if you want to put it that way. So here's a little clip what we've seen of the build so far.
Off by showing some of the gameplay of Act 3, one of the 6 acts in POE2's campaign. We're starting here in the jungle depths. Act 3 is set in the ruins of the Vaal civilization, which fell thousands of years ago. Jungle has taken over their former once great cities, and we'll be exploring it using one of our 6 new character classes, called the Monk. In PoE 1, we had one character class for each of the combinations of strength, dexterity, and intelligence. When looking at the design of PoE 2, though, we realized that many of the new skills that we were trying to design just didn't really fit thematically with the existing classes that we have. Being a spellcaster with a bear form makes sense for Strength Int, but it doesn't really sound like something that a Templar would do. We realized that since we had new mechanics for every attribute combination, it actually made sense to design new character classes to explore the new theme. In PoE 2, every attribute combination has 2 classes associated with it. strength int has the Templar or the Druid, on dexterity you have the Ranger or the more spear-focused Huntress, and on dex int you have the Shadow and the Monk, which Mark is playing here. Each class has its own 3 ascendancies that let you further specialize the class in the way that only that class has access to, but they both start at the same location in the passive tree. The quest rewards you're offered on the 2 variants are tailored to the class, but of course this is POE. You can still mix and match anything to your heart's content.
See how he does against the boss
Looks
here.
like we've come across the boss for this area. In POE2, every area of the campaign contains a boss of at least this difficulty. That's over 100 bosses to fight as you make your way through the
Yeah, it
campaign.
won't be 50 though.
They all have unique mechanics to learn.
For early access. This is what I like about the monk though. He's
As you've seen
really
from watching Mark
fast,
fight,
a lot of
melee
combos.
Combat in POE2 has a very different feel than before.
But then he
We've
can
done a
also
lot of things
channel
with the ability to
elemental
combat.
abilities,
Every melee
so you can
skill in
freeze.
POE2 has some kind of movement built into it. The monk in particular is a melee fighter who specializes in mobility over brute strength.
He does good damage too still. So see, right there is why I'm going monk. It's just I don't know. That's my game
As Mark's
style.
been playing, you might have
Up
noticed
close,
these blue
personal.
markers over enemies.
The
Mark has a
combos
skill
very
equipped with
fast.
Killing Palm. Whenever an enemy has a blue indicator over
He can
it,
still wield,
monster with low
you know,
enough life
do
to help
elemental
with the
damages.
Cull. Successfully executing the Cull will give you a power charge.
It's going to be
This is an
very good in
important skill
breaches
Mark,
for
since many
endgame.
of his skills interact with power charges. One of the great things about the skill is that it has a built-in dash forward, which makes it much easier to target the skill at the right point when you need it. We've done a lot of work in POE2 to make using skills like this feel satisfying. If you're accidentally targeting slightly off the monster, the skill will automatically lock on to the cullable target, and will even do a small amount of pathfinding around obstacles. We really want to make sure that when you've got an opportunity to use the skill, nothing is going to get in your way. Once you have some power charges, you need some skills to power up. A great follow-up is
It's like
Falling Thunder.
that move right there was
Falling
pretty
Thunder
cool.
without a
Like he was like kind of like spinning in a circle, wielding the wind around him. So I mean, there's going to be a lot of cool combos. And again, like it's very cool that he can wield a lot of the elemental damages like ice and lightning. Very
Power charge
fast.
just creates a relatively small lightning AoE in front of you. But
He's
build
pretty
with some power
strong too.
charges
Like
and
he
turn
can
your attack clearer
pack
with
some
a large number
punches.
of extra projectiles. One thing you'll notice here is that like almost every melee skill in POE2, Falling Thunder has a bit of extra movement built in just in case you need it. Using the skill within range and you'll do a flip in place. But use it at a larger range,
see, that's
the character
cool.
will move forward while executing it, getting you into position without any time penalty.
And that's another thing that's going to be very beneficial is like when you go against certain bosses that have resistances, at least he can channel like other elementals. So you can still get elemental damage on the weakness for that boss. So I mean, he's overall going to be very good. That's why I'm going Invoker Monk. Personal choice. Think it's going to be fun, guys. Depends on your playstyle though. All the classes
In
look great
POE2,
though.
You also get a short period to redirect your target. Notice how you can start the skill facing one way, then whip the mouse sideways to land the skill in a different direction? In order to get power charges, you're going to first need to get some lower life monsters into a cullable range. You've got a few options. If you want to charge right in, Whirling Assault is a good option. It doesn't do much damage per hit.
See, Whirling
Covers a lot of
Assault.
ground.
That's pretty cool.
Notice how you can turn
Kind of
as
like
you do
a...
it. Generally speaking, you never lose control.
If you're coming from like Diablo 4 or whatever, like you know, kind of like the dancing knives for like a rogue, how he kind of like he does the same kind of mechanic, and then he has a bit of that does good AoE around a pack of little enemies there.
Of your character in POE2. If you make a turn at the right time,
It's pretty
you get
cool.
a couple of extra hits in on the monsters, getting them into range of your cull. Follow up with a Killing Palm, then finish off the rest of the pack with your Falling Thunder.
Done.
We've now entered the Vaal Mechanarium. This is the place where the Vaal built the various constructs they relied on to power their civilization.
Now this is a find! A Vaal ruin that hasn't been looted? I wonder why nobody's been in here before.
One useful feature that we've added is the ability to call in NPCs to where you are, to give you more information, help you with quest objectives, and so that you don't have to always go back to town. In this case, we'll call in Alva to find out what to do.
This mechanism, if powered with a small soul core, it could open that door. There should definitely be soul cores somewhere around here. They had to power these constructs somehow.
As Alva said, we need to find a soul core to open this door. Let's explore.
Check something out quick here.
Getting too close to some of the more dangerous monsters, a good option is Wind Blast. Wind Blast also doesn't do too much damage, but it keeps the enemies back. The closer they are, the farther they're pushed back. So it's a great option for keeping smaller but high damage enemies at bay. Note that the bigger the enemy is, the less they'll be pushed back. So trying to push back some giants isn't going to be effective. And there's the soul core. Let's get back to the door.
Let me know what you guys are picking for your season league starting class. Very curious. A lot of you guys are thinking monk, sork. What's going to be the top one? Very curious what people are going in as. Mercenary looks cool. If anybody wants to let me know what you're thinking here for your starting class. I'm going monk invoker. Hands down.
Glacial Cascade creates a wave of ice that moves slowly in front of the player. It's pretty ineffective against fast-moving monsters because most of the damage occurs right at the end of the wave.
Good AoE, fast.
So a lot of monsters will just walk right by it. But if you can find a way to make a monster stop at just the right place, it can be very
I love that
effective.
spinning move.
In order to do that, you probably want to freeze monsters. The monk has a few different tools to do this. A fairly simple option is to get right in the monster's face with Ice Strike.
Ice Strike
doesn't do too much damage on the first 2 hits, but attack 3 times in sequence and you can get off
It's going to do like an extra charge. More combo, the more damage.
Freeze, then roll back and finish the job with a Glacial Cascade. Now, remember how Glacial Cascade had that extra damaging spike at the end? If you've hit a frozen enemy with that spike, it shatters the ice on the enemy and does a devastating amount of damage. Oh yeah, I just casually mentioned rolling back before. Did I forget to mention that in POE2 we added a dodge roll to every character? Just press spacebar at any time to roll. There's no cooldown, no limitations. It even has a bit of built-in pathfinding so you don't get stuck on things.
Again, this will be a controller supporter. It'll probably be like B for dodging.
But most things will not hit you. That's because while rolling, projectiles and melee strikes will always miss. You'll have to roll out of the way of a slam that has AoE, but anyone swinging a sword or throwing a fireball is going to miss. Now another
See, that move right there is awesome. I wonder if you can just spam it. If you can just keep spamming that move right there. When he kind of
throwing a fireball is going to
like
miss.
This is cool when he just.
Now another really important function of the dodge roll is that it lets you cancel out of almost any skill at any time. This makes it so you don't feel like you're getting stuck doing a long animation when something is about to hit you. It really changes how skills with longer attack and cast times play, and it makes dodge roll feel like a very reliable way to avoid attacks. So, that's one way to get out of the way of damage, but the monk specializes in mobility, so it makes sense that he would have a few more. Wave of Frost is one of our new attacks with a retreat built right in. You move backwards and throw out a cold attack with a significant freeze. The great thing about this is it puts you at a good distance to follow up with Glacial Cascade and do a whole pile of damage. Hey look, another Soul Core.
This seems really strong too. Like
shattering palm.
This is just the start of the campaign.
Palm strike is a small ice bomb on your target. Kill or deal enough damage to the target and the bomb will explode, doing some damage and a significant freeze. It's a great option against bosses where the wave of ice might not be enough to get that freeze off, but you really want to get that Glacial Cascade damage bonus.
I think end game for Invoker Monk's going to be pretty strong. Very excited to kind of go about making a build for that.
Face your demise. The final skill we're going to show you today is Flicker Strike.
This is cool. Flicker Strike, I'm putting that on my skills for sure.
If you've played POE1, you know what to expect. It's a great finisher for tough
Just
boss
teleport.
fights, and it looks pretty impressive too.
Look at that. I just channeled by teleporting all the way up, inflicting lightning damage.
Another door. I wonder what could be in there.
We're going to do a giveaway this Saturday as well, guys. Just follow into the channel. It'll be
take down
this
this boss, we're going to need all the tools in the monk's.
this Saturday, November 30th at 1 p.m. We're going to give away early access key. And then we'll do another one on launch, December 6th, same time. Again, the game launches at 2 p.m. Eastern time, December 6th.
Especially the combo of Freeze and Glacial Cascade. If you're a POE1 player, you might think that you can't really rely on Freeze because there's so many bosses that are immune to it, but in POE2, that's changing significantly. In POE1, Freeze is a binary mechanic. An attack freezes the target, or it doesn't. What this basically means is that in POE1, we were forced to add freeze immunity to many bosses, because Freeze just trivialized them. Because of that, freezing was something you only really used while pack clearing, and not something you could rely on as a core part of your build for boss fight. In POE2 though, all crowd control
You guys aren't familiar when you're going against bosses. This is always his weakness. It's always located to the right. So
mechanics now have internal meters that allow you to
you're inflicting fire damage, you would be taking
or
more
whatever
damage.
other CC mechanic you might be using. It's a little bit like poise from games like Elden Ring, though the meters tend to be a lot smaller than those games. When you freeze an enemy, it increases the amount of freeze you need to do another freeze, but the increased difficulty bleeds away slowly. More freeze will always let you freeze the boss more often, but this system means it will not get out of control in party play or interact badly with other CC mechanics, allowing us to let these kinds of mechanics actually work against all bosses.
This stream, I'm going to mainly focus on the monk for anybody that's going to be interested in playing monk on League Start for early access. Just trying to go over some of the skills and ascendancy, which one you want to go. I think Invoker is going to be stronger than Chayula. Chayula is going to be, it's going to do more damage, but overall survivability, I think Invoker is going to be better. More combos, more skills. Again, that was pretty good damage. This was just like the beginning boss, like one of the first ones, the beginning of the campaign. So pretty decent, attack speed and combos, and the damage was pretty good. As long as you have the element you're dealing against the boss too, you'll get more damage for that.
Blackjaw has dropped a consumable quest item, the Flame Core. It's a permanent +10 to Spirit. In POE2, we really want to make sure that you feel rewarded for exploration. It wouldn't be much good if we made all these awesome optional bosses if we didn't have something great to find for killing them. One of the things you might find for killing a boss is a permanent stat bonus to your character.
Your end comes. Your fate is sealed.
Like, look at that. The lightning he does kind of like around the enemies. I just love how the monk, like, he's so mobile. He can, cast spells still Like he does ice damage, lightning damage. Just an all-around pretty safe build, I think, for starting off in the starting league. Look at I love that ability. He just spins in a circle, kind of like wielding the wind element. It's going to be a fast clearing build too. It could be good for breaches when you're running the end game there. As well, I just want to quickly show you guys here. I'm kind of working on like what I'm going to run for. I'm doing an evoker build for the monk. So I'm going to be running Killing Palm. What that does is 5 to 9 added attack physical damage. Calling Strike cannot be evaded. So when you're doing a Calling Strike, enemies can't actually inflict damage on you. Plus 7% critical strike damage. You need a lot of crit damage when you're running a monk, as he does a lot of obviously crit strike damage abilities. This attack does not benefit from weapons. I'm going to be running Glacial Cascade. So the monk always, the best weapon, you'll be running Quarterstaff. Converts 60% of physical damage to cold damage. So I'm going to be actually running like a lot of cold style skills to, because I think they're just going to be very strong, especially for the beginning part of the campaign. Wave of Frost. Again, Quarterstaff. This converts 80% of physical damage to cold damage. Hits are freezing. Hits freeze as though dealing 350. Yeah, that's crazy right there. Hit freeze as through dealing 350% more damage base radius in 6 meters. And then we're going to run Falling Thunder. This one just does an insane amount of thunder damage. So you get 100% of physical damage to lightning damage. And then it does multiple projectiles as well, shooting down enemies in a good AoE radius. So this one's good because it's got AoE, slam, projectile, lightning. Flicker Strike, we've seen that. He kind of teleports, wielding like lightning damage across the ground. I'm going to be running Freezing Mark as well. So this one, mark duration is 8 seconds. Hits against marked enemies cause 100% more freezing buildup. So that's just going to basically, mark the enemies, freeze them. And then any cold abilities, I'm just going to get a multiplier on that to freeze them and cast cold damage for more damage. This one, Arctic Armor. You need some sort of armor when you're running a lot of these classes, so it's just extra armor. So this one deals 20 to 31% cold damage per stage, 7% less fire damage taken, which is good. 7% less physical damage when taken. Damage against yourself. Gains a stage every 1.5 seconds up to a maximum of 3 stages. So that's going to be awesome. And then we know the Tempest Bell, you hit the bell, does AoE damage. Very good. It's going to be good against bosses. You kind of put that bell right next to a boss and then you just attack with the combos, and then it'll inflict the damage in AoE, dealing multiplicative, I think, damage to, say if there's other enemies around the boss as well, and the boss itself. Requires 4 combos to use, limit 1 bell. Lost combo or lose combo if generate let's just say no combo for 8 seconds. Base duration is 6 seconds. Bell is destroyed after 12 hits. So if it takes 12 hits, then so it lasts for a good amount of time. Vaulting Impact. This one's a good AoE melee slam. So you kind of jump up with your quarterstaff, slam on the ground. This says plus 1 second to attack time. So this will be good for like clearing breaches. Plus 1 second to attack time, 30 seconds more stun buildup, consume days on enemy, causing 300% more stun buildup, which is crazy. Impact radius is like 2.4 meters, so it's going to be a good large area within the game there. And then we're kind of going through, I'm just working on support gems, but I'm going to kind of spec into it. Going to be a lot of like combo finishers, close combat, and then we'll do like probably extended combos. Area of effect is going to be very important, and then cold damage and concentrated effect. So that concentrated effect does supported skills deal 30% more area damage, which is unreal. So when you're already doing, a large area of damage, this is an additive to it. So you'll have supported skills have 50% less area of effect, but you're doing 30% more damage in the area, which is insane. So that's kind of like where I'm at with creating my skills and my support gems with it.
In order to help us with this next area,
it's going to be fun though.
The sorceress. Mark's friend Octavian is going to send a friendvite.
If you're curious on that website too, it's just on the POE2 skills.com. It's pretty cool. You can go in there, check out the site, and then you can kind of just mess around, see what a lot of these skills are going to do. You can put them into the into your skills, and then check out different support gems, and then just kind of mess around, take a look at them, see what you're thinking, and kind of create your own. It's up to you. Like in the beginning, there's not going to really be any guides, like build guides or anything right off the start. So you're going to just kind of be testing out and seeing how you like customizing your own class. That's pretty cool.
Which we're going to accept. And then they can play together. The Sorceress is the new intelligence-focused character in POE2. While the Witch focuses more on occult magic and summoning, the Sorceress is themed around pure elemental destruction.
This is just getting into the Sorc. I'm just kind of focusing on more of the monk side of things. Again, going over the monk, the range is going to be pretty decent. Complexity, a little demanding for gear, but overall his speed's going to be really good. Clear times are going to be good. Tankiness, he's pretty solid. Can't go wrong. Monk has a great combination of mage and roguelike skills and warrior archetypes. So that's kind of what I like. Choose monk if you like fast, fluid gameplay together with some elemental combos, which is what I love. It is also a natural choice for energy shield options and chaos damage builds. So I think the chaos damage builds are going to be more around the Chayula type for the Ascendancy. Because the Chayula Invoker is elemental damage oriented monk that can use a special form, unbound avatar basically, to improve damage and apply more elemental alignments on enemies. The Invoker can also shoot out waves of elemental damages, which I like. Invoker can also double its energy shield, so that gives them more protection, good defense, to improve survivability, which is very key for Path of Exile. You want to focus more on defense than you are going to want to damage, because a lot of the bosses are just going to be very hard to sustain, unless if you can dodge every mechanic they dish out. Chayula, so it's an acolyte of Chayula, is specialized in chaos combos. So that's what it said there. You can specialize in different chaos builds. So this one's more of like mind over matter. If you can use the ability mind over matter on bosses and maybe find a way to increase the cooldown of it, or like to be able to use it more, then it could be a better build. But I don't think it's going to be as strong as people think, which it just lets you take damage from your mana before your life. So it's like kind of like primarily focusing on your mana for damage, but then once that's depleted, then it will kind of go into your life. Additionally, acolytes can get access to darkness resource, which it replaces spirit, but can boost both your tankiness and damage. This ascendancy will be great for chaos skills and sustain leech oriented playstyles. So overall, that's pretty good. Looking into, is this double monk gameplay? Oh, right here. This is pretty cool. Seeing when you're running with 2 people together, say you're both monks. This is pretty neat to see if you're playing split screen, which isn't really split screen, but you're playing co-op with somebody else. It's pretty cool running double monk. Again, you're going to have up to 6 people in a group of, like, for a party. So that's pretty cool. You can have 5 other people with yourself running together through the campaign, etc. This is like right at the start of the campaign as well. But this is just, we're watching a video of Double Monk. I just love how they can control all the elements and do fast combos. I'm excited to play it though. I think Invoker's can be my choice, but I know a lot of people are interested in the Chiola. Definitely going to want to focus on quarterstaffs with the monk for his weapon. Double monk just looks nuts. Like you're both just casting so many elemental skills. Combos are nice. You can one can sit back. The other can go in, then you can reverse. I just gotta pick them up.
And horrors.
It's nice you can have multiple different skills. You can have lightning, you can have, frost or ice with your combos. I like how when you're playing with somebody, your health and your mana is like split in half. So you don't have that like full dividing. It's pretty, they set it up pretty nice. But again, you can have up to 6 people in a party, so that's pretty cool. I don't know how much it actually buffs up the enemy's health. It's like a certain percentage per person. Seems like at the beginning, like your mana is going to be very hard to sustain. Okay, just because you're doing so many combo skills that require the mana. Spirit. This little line that's blue, that's along your health. It's just going to be your energy shield. You have your armor and then your shield. I just love the combo skills. If you like kind of doing combo skills and a lot of speed, wielding different elements, like this is definitely the way to go. Don't choose a character or, you know, a class, I should say, that you think other people are telling you is going to be stronger. Just go to what you think you're going to like on League Start with based on what your because, you know, if you're an ARPG player coming to another big ARPG title game, especially if you came from 1 over to 2, you kind of know probably what you're going to do. But if you're coming from Diablo over here to Path of Exile, whatever you enjoyed playing on that, kind of stick to the same style. Like if you like combo attacks or you like mana builds, or if you like kind of being like a powerful tanky warrior style build, they're all going to be good. I think Mercenary is going to look pretty good too if you want to be like a big boss killer. I mean, the first damage you inflict on a boss takes away 30% of the boss's life with that one passive on the Witch Hunter. Judge, Jury, and Executioner does looks pretty nuts. But I feel like only, you know, 20% of the game is going to be based off of bosses. So do you want to be a build character that you only go against bosses so much? I feel like you're you know, this class is good just for overall bosses and packs of enemies. A lot of AoE damage. It's all preference, though. I just think there's so much potential with this class. Just going either way with the Ascendancy, and then I'm going to be going Invoker, but both look great. Both died. So when you die, you just spawn back to one of the waypoints there. It's pretty good density of monsters too, just for like starting off in the campaign. That's why, like, I don't know, personally, how well is a mercenary or a bow? I mean, bow could be, like, the ranger's going to be pretty good, Deadeye. But if you're just starting, I think mercenary's going to be pretty tough until later in the campaign. Because if you don't have the explosive grenades and stuff, it's going to be really hard taking down big packs of enemies. Unless if you're running with somebody else that can help with that, while you stay back and shoot. Like the dodge mechanics are going to be pretty good. You're going to have to definitely, that's going to be something even I have to kind of get used to, is a lot of dodging back and then using your combos. Just a lot of dodging. That's going to be the key to success, I think, for this game, is just dodging a lot, and then getting familiar with your combos, with the monk at least. They're like, where do we go? It's funny, they're like, where the heck do we go? Yeah, there you go. Good job. Now you found... I think the like giant skeletons look funny in this game. This reminds me of like a Halloween theme kind of. Somebody died. That's what I mean. The density of like some of the enemies when they group up, they can really take you down pretty quick. This is where a lot of the dodge mechanics, so he got destroyed there. But if he would have, you know, kind of dodged backwards, maybe that would have helped him, but it's definitely going to be a challenge in the beginning when you don't really have much for gear. They didn't really design this game to be that easy either, so I think it's going to be really difficult for hardcore players. From what I heard about hardcore, if you die in hardcore, your gear, I think, goes to your stash, and then you just get placed into softcore, like regular from hardcore. But you have to create a new character. But you keep your gear. I don't know. That's what I heard. So it's not like when your character dies, everything's gone. You got to start from scratch again. I mean, these guys aren't having too much success here. Like I said, it's gonna be pretty tough. again, the campaign's gonna be pretty long as well. Like, I think most people will get it done maybe like 15 to 20 hours, 15. But it said 25-hour campaign. So you can see at the bottom left here, or the bottom right, this little plus symbol. It says 1 above it. That's just like one of the skill points you can spec into his tree. Showing monster level is 24 up here in the right corner. That's where they gotta go. It's kind of nice to see some combo style play with 2 monks
The third pact
going in the beginning of the campaign here.
not supposed to be here.
So they're just kind of looking through the skill tree here. Area of effect. 8% increase area of effect. I think area is going to be very important on monks. Just getting like a lot of AoE with your combos. Because a lot of the combos for the monk are based off of like AoE's area of damage, from what I've seen. So the more you can spec into it, like on the tree, the better. What's this one? Wind Dancer. This one looked really cool. I think that's the one where I seen the skill where it kind of like flips, like kind of like doing a spiral flip with like wind revolving around him. I don't know if it's something you keep spamming or not. Look at this guy's like wants like a whirlwind kind of build. And you're going to want to be speccing into dexterity and intelligence for the monk. See, that's that skill I was talking about where he spins. What was that one? Lust of Power? 20% chance that if you would gain power charges, you instead gain up to your maximum number of power charges. Yeah, that could be pretty good. These guys are at like level 26, 27. Oh, they both got destroyed here. Just so you guys know as well, anybody new in the channel here, we're doing a giveaway this Saturday, November 30th, which is my birthday. We're going to do a little giveaway for an early access key. If nobody has one yet, there's a chance to get one. It'll be at, we're going to start it at 1 p.m. Eastern time and end it and announce the winner at 2 p.m. to have a chance to win an early access key. If interested, just check the channel out on the Saturday when we start the giveaway.
Good night.
With these good Goliaths. One thing I like too is when you're taking enemies out, like it gives you like a percentage of how much health they actually have left. It's nice to just be able to see it in a percentage. I think that's what it was. Item grants, level 6. Rebull. I like that ability. I like they said earlier when you're doing your combo with that was it the which combo was that again? I think it was Wave of Frost, I think, or was that I think it was a Wave of Frost, or maybe it was Ice Shard one. But on your third combo with that, it does like an increased amount of damage with the combo, so it stacks up, dealing a lot of damage. Hey, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. Hagen Blood, my man. Check me out November 30th for the giveaway. It's on yep. So you'll do that exactly to enter the giveaway, but it's going to be on November 30th. So not today, but on Saturday, we'll start the giveaway. It'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern, and then we'll announce the winner at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Yo, I'm too excited, dude. I'm trying to keep my mind in check and mentally sane because of all the hype and build up, and I'm stoked. I'm pumped for it, dude. I can't wait for the release. It's going to be hype. I'm going to be on streaming it. I'm going to be going hard on it. I'll be probably pass out in my chair playing. Most likely. So, you know what's nice though is it's actually releasing on a weekend. I know it's some people might not be able to get on right away, or maybe you get off early on Friday. But it's going to be on a Friday, and the game's going to release at 2 p.m. Eastern time, December 6th. So if you get off of work early, jump on, start playing. I think the servers are going to be... Even Jonathan Rogers kept saying as long as the servers can withstand all these, I just hope the servers are good. I hope I think that's the biggest thing is you don't know what it's going to be like on launch. Are they going to have issues? Is everybody going to be able to get in on launch, and they're not going to, they're not going to have a delay? Is it actually going to start at 2 p.m. Eastern? What they said? Maybe people get on and then the servers crash, or I don't know, they got to delay it a couple hours. Because that's happened with multiple other games I've played. It's going to be my first time with POE, but seems magnificent. Dude, it looks flawless as you're drooling. I know. That's what I think about when I think of any kind of sweets, donuts, drool. It's like Homer Simpson. But yeah, dude, I can't wait. Can't wait. It's going to be unreal. It's going to be so hype. I just hope I'm one of those lucky people that can log in right away and get into the game. Fingers crossed. Hopefully it's good. I don't have any doubt that the game's going to lack in any aspect. I think we're in for a good treat. The campaign's going to be nice. I want to enjoy the campaign a bit too. I don't want to just speed run it. It's not a race for me to get to 100. I just want to kind of enjoy it, soak it in, especially for your first time. I'm sure we all know that. Just want to enjoy the lore of it, kind of understand what's happening within the game. That's what really sinks you into the games as well. What are you thinking, Hagen, for your first class? Do you have any thoughts? What is everybody in the chat thinking? What are you going to start the game as? Yeah, I just like chilling in games too. I agree. I'm the same way. What I like is like the beginning of the game should be like chill. And then when you start getting into like the end game stuff, then that's when you get kind of really taken off, especially with like the build of whatever class you're choosing. Yeah, I'm not a speed running type guy either for sure. I have no idea. I'm between sorcerer or the warrior. Yeah. Warrior, I hear if you're brand new to Path of Exile, it's like your safest bet. Just from talking to a few other people that actually played during the alpha at the LA event. Like a lot of them were testing out different classes and they felt like warrior was like the safest bet because it's very tanky, good defense, and sustains a lot of damage, but then you still do a lot of damage. You can output a lot of damage. Yeah, it's a long way till the end game 100% because you got to redo the campaign again. So you do it the first time, you put in like maybe take like 15 to 20 hours. They say it's going to be a 25-hour campaign. But honestly, then you got to do a game plus is what they keep calling it. It's just play the game again, but it's a harder difficulty. The first playthrough, you're going to go like 1 to 45 and then 45 to 65. And then, so I mean, just doing the campaigns alone, that's going to take a lot of time there. Like, considering you got to do it twice. And then once you get into endgame, then it's going to really start taking off. And it's really cool to see the different endgame types. Because essentially we're getting, what it was I forget what the actual... I think we got, what was it? Expedition, Ritual, Delirium, Breach. There's a few other ones. Got pinnacle bosses in there. It's going to be really cool though. The hardest thing I think for a lot of people too is going to be like the skill tree. Just figuring out where you want to go with it. It'll be a couple days before like a lot of us can figure out some builds. Says, yep, was just taking every game is the safest pick. Definitely the safest pick. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a warrior 100%. So if you want to start the season and like have a smooth experience, definitely go warrior. I highly recommend warrior. Yeah, the skill tree is huge, and you're going to follow a certain path with the skill tree though, based off of which route you go. But then you can start kind of venturing and branching off into other class nodes to customize basically your character. And if I were you, like if you're going warrior, you decide to do that, I highly recommend going Titan, just because it's going to be more of a tanky build as well. And it has like to help you through it as well. One of the nodes that's actually on the Titan Ascendancy, it was like a plus 20% increase to your health, like your health pool. So this red thing here, like your health pool. So you're going to have way more health, and that's like extremely hard to come by in Path of Exile is health. So just for the fact that the passive tree, nobody else can get that because it's in your ascendancy is huge. And then it had like something with like damage. 20% increase in health. Yeah, dude. Like, that's huge. That's what I'm saying. Titan Warrior is going to be the build. That's going to be the build for your first playthrough if you've never played Path of Exile. A lot of other people are trying different classes because they played Path of Exile. They put countless thousands of hours into the game, so they kind of know. They already have an idea because it is still a lot like Path of Exile 1. Just a little bit different. But yeah, I definitely think that's your safest bet. I even see like a lot of creators content creators that just, the first playthrough, they're playing a warrior. They just want to see how they can, because I think it's going to be a tanky build in end game. Like you're going to probably be able to just slam bosses. It's going to be awesome. But I'm going Monk Invoker. That's my personal choice because I like a lot of combos. I like being able to deal like elements. Kind of being like an airbender avatar is freaking cool. And it still had like overall pretty decent. This is just what their site Mobalytics is saying. But here's your for the warrior. Your range is going to be average, complexity average, so it's not that bad. Speed, it's going to be slow. That's the only downfall with the warrior. He's going to be slow, but he's going to be strong as hell. His clear time will be good because he'll be doing like massive AoE slams. But Titan's definitely the way to go because Titans add aftershocks to the slams, improving their damage significantly. You can also make all of your hits crushing blows, lowering enemies' physical damage reduction. But the main dish here is surprising strength, which allows you to do 40% increased damage against heavy stunned enemies. That's huge. So if you're going warrior titan, that's like, it's going to be a walk in the park. 40% increased damage if you stun enemies. So if you stun an enemy, you're going to do 40% increased damage. That's nuts. And on top of that, you're going to have so much health with the Titan Ascendancy node. But with the monk, I just like the mobility, the speed. Still going to be tanky. I think it's going to clear like breach like nothing. It's going to be so quick. I like dealing different elements. I've always liked dexterity builds. So I just like the raw speed and basically area of effect to damage enemies. It's going to be awesome. If you want to theory craft yourself, like definitely check out this website because you can kind of get an idea of what the skills are going to be. This is me just kind of messing around with the monk, looking at different skills I can use when I create my build. So I'm doing like Killing Palm, Glacial Cascade, which does like I'm going to try to focus on a lot of cold damage. So, and as well, like monks, their main weapon is going to be a quarterstaff. So it's pretty cool. It's going to be, I'm pretty excited. It's going to be good. Damn, 20, so sorry, I didn't read your comment there. I can't stand being slow. Yeah, so that's it, right? That's the only downfall with the warrior. He's going to be slow. If you want a tanky build, warrior's where it's at. A lot of health, or a lot of life, a lot of damage. But if you want a build that's faster, that's where the monk's like your next best bet. It's strong. It's like a sorcerer mixed with warrior because of strength, but it mixed with like a speedy build, kind of like a rogue. So it's all around good build. That's why I'm going monk. I'm probably personally, yeah, monk's going to be definitely the way to go for just my playstyle. I mean, you can go different builds, like, I don't know, different classes. I mean, like warrior's going to be a top one. Monk's going to be a top one. Definitely people that like minion builds. I think Chronomancer. I see a lot of people doing the Infernalist. But those are people that have like played a lot of Path of Exile 1. It's a bit of a gamble though, because I don't know how strong Infernalist is going to be. Especially when you're in demon form, it's going to be really hard to maintain that health. It's going to deplete so fast. Yeah, definitely monk's a good front runner if you like speed combos. Just, I don't know, dude. It looks good. Has everything you like. If I could get a key, I'm gonna play the game, but if I can't, I'm gonna wait until the full access. Okay, gotcha. Well, like I said, I'm doing 2 giveaways, so we're gonna do one this Saturday, November 30th, and one on launch. So you have a chance there. We'll start at 1 p.m. Eastern, but I'm gonna go on streaming probably 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, this Saturday. And then we'll start the actual giveaway at 1, and then we'll end it at 2 p.m. And then I'll do the giveaway bot, announce the winner. So you definitely have a chance for sure. And I'll be streaming it. So maybe, say if you don't get to play day 1 of early access, at least you can watch a bit of gameplay, get some more insight on what class you're going to want to choose in the end. You're going to stream it at 2 p.m. for Eastern, right? Yep. On release day, I'll be streaming. I'll be on probably at even earlier. Oh, on the Saturday for the... Yep, I'll be streaming the giveaway for sure. I'll be doing that this Saturday. And then I'll be doing it on release day. We'll do another one. So December 6th, I'll do another. And I'll be on live streaming. Be on the whole day. This Saturday, I'll just be on at 12 p.m. Eastern time. I'll start the stream. And we'll announce the winner at 2 p.m. Eastern. Because it is my birthday on this Saturday, so I don't want to be on all day. I would like to enjoy a little bit of my birthday. Even though I'm getting older and I don't even really celebrate it anymore anyway, so it's kind of more or less just take a little break. But yeah, this Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern for the giveaway. So look at this. Why is he looking at totems? He's a monk. I think he's just kind of giving it. So this is a cool thing. He's a monk, but you can use different classes skills, right? So he's using... This is where you open up your skills, and you can really start getting crazy with the builds. You can use like sorceress skills with the monk. That's where it gets all crazy. But if you just want to stick with what they recommend for monk skills, and that's what you want to do. Yeah. Okay, cool. Appreciate it. Yeah, definitely check out my playthrough and you'll kind of get an idea of if it's something you want to pick or not. Yeah, POE. I'm giving away a key on my birthday, so I'm not even getting anything. I'm just giving away. Giving back to the community on my birthday. I just like watching like raw footage of gameplay, like not end game activity gameplay of the monk, but I just like seeing the beginning because this is where we're all going to be at. at the start of early access, so it's just nice to be able to see that, you know, it's showing you how hard it's actually going to be. It's not going to be that easy. These guys have died like quite a few times now. But I feel as you progress through the story, you're going to eventually hit like kind of a wall with enemies being too strong. So you got to kind of go back a little bit, probably to... This is a dreadnought, which is really cool. So if you get the supporter pack, I forget which one it is. It's like the third one, the $100 one. You get this big moving city. It's called the dreadnought. So it's your own town. Only you get, but if people are in your party, they get to come here as well. This is where you have your stash. You talk to people, buy items, etc. Yeah, no problem, brother. Have a good day. Be safe. Thanks for the words of encouragement. We'll check you out if you're on tomorrow or this Saturday. I'll see you at the giveaway. GG's. So a lot of these flasks, what's this one? Like a grand mana flask. Just kind of buying a bunch to make sure you can get, he's getting mana flask and then a life flask. So this one, the grands require level 16. You're getting the bigger flasks. Let's see. So again, we know like a lot of like orbs of mutation. There's going to be different orbs that basically upgrade the item to a magic with one modifier. So when you have your, say your item here and you use the orb of transmutation, there's like different ones. There's a bunch of different orbs. But this one is transmutation. So you add it to one of your items and then you're going to get another blue text magic basically modifier, whatever it could be. Could be like chance for this, you know, chance for critical strikes. It could be charges, shield, armor, increased damage. This one's recovery rate, but it just keeps adding. So I think you can stack up to, I think it's like, I don't know how many times you can actually put an orb of transmutation into it. I think it's like 3 or 4. But yeah, it's pretty cool. You'll get used to the mechanics of that, just upgrading your gear. And as you keep putting more orbs into your gear, then it's going to change it into like, you know, a rare, or it could change it into, yeah, like basically like a common, uncommon into a rare, which is the yellow. Which is pretty cool. Yeah, later, buddy. Have a good day. Thank you for following as well. Appreciate it. So this guy had a rare. Hello. But is he just getting rid of a lot of... So this is where you salvage. Just going through a lot of their gear. What did he just have there? Just curious. So Fate Mitts. This one does 50% increase armor and evasion. That's going to be really important to have. You want to have like armor, increase armor and evasion. You want life. You want dexterity because monks, they need dexterity. So you're going to want to like spec a lot of your gear into like a lot of your resistances, life, armor, evasion. I forget the 4 types of defense that are very important. It's obviously your elemental resistances. It's going to be your energy shield, I believe, your armor, and then there was one more. But you want to make sure you get those eventually to cap, because Path of Exile works in a way different from Diablo. Or in Diablo, you just try to get as much damage as possible. Don't worry about like the resistances and the defenses if you're coming from Diablo anyways. You want to focus on defense primarily, and then obviously you can just have a good balance. Like, don't stack everything just into damage, or you're going to be dying every 2 seconds.
Welcome.
Yes?
So who is he?
Yes?
So he's talking to... Just want to see who he goes to here again. I think it was Rashu, but yeah, he goes to... I think Rashu.
Yes?
And then this is where you can buy items. It's all random though. You buy it, and then it's just going to have random stats on it. So kind of like Last Epoch, if anyone's ever played that. That's what I mean. Like, this game's a lot of like, obviously Path of Exile 1 and Last Epoch. I believe armor and weapons, you can put 2 sockets into the armor. I'll have socket slots, and the weapons, and then obviously the rings and the amulet will be 1.
Yes?
What's this one? Okay, so spell. Contagion. You got rid of it. Didn't want it. So they're on Act 2. Hopefully everybody's doing good today. I know we're only halfway, not even halfway to release, but everybody's counting down the hours, the days and the hours and the minutes. He'll be here before we know it though. It's nice just being able to see beginning gameplay of the campaign. Gives you an idea of what you're going to be getting into here. We're running a double monk. I'm going to be going as a monk invoker with my ascendancy. I'll be kind of customizing a build based around that. I'll make my own build. I'll be streaming on release, and then we'll be streaming as long as I possibly can. I do it a 30-hour stream, maybe something crazy. Never done one before, but we'll try it. But yeah, we'll try it out. I like how he's wielding a lot of... So he's speccing more into like lightning with this monk. The other guy was kind of more into ice, like cold damage. I'm gonna probably be going monk invoker, doing a lot of like ice and ice damage, cold damage, I should say. So a lot of skills will be based around that. See, one is running cold and the other one is lightning. Seems like he's having a bit of a hard time, the one guy here, sustaining a bit of his life, but again, the other guy could have better gear. I think he did. Oh, there's a bell. So now he's using the bell. And this is what I love about that bell is you just keep hitting into it and the bell can handle, I believe it was like 14 or 15 hits before it disappears or within the time.
I carry two possessions that don't get wounded.
He's using flicker step. You can like teleport, which is pretty cool. I'll be testing out some Diablo Season 4 or Season 7 PTR as well, December 3rd. Just something before Path of Exile, just to keep me sane. Check out how the season's looking and the game mechanics. We'll see how it looks. Anyways, I don't know how great it's going to be, but hope it'll be good. I know a lot of my time will be spent on this game, but did you just get there? Okay. Why would you want a belt that's like minus 101 to armor? It's terrible. I don't know what he's looking at there. I like because they're running double monk, they decided to go one's going lightning and the other's going cold damage. Doing like kind of a frost build, cold damage. But he's just taking a beating, this guy. Get out of there. The dodge mechanics are really good in this game, though. With the monk, from what I've seen, it's pretty fast. This is only Act 2 of the campaign, so at the kind of the beginning half. Level 27. I seem to be able to get the grand mana potions and the health potions. It requires level 16, so start getting those at that level. Should be using his bell. Use the bell and then stack the damage. There it is. Come on, get him over there. I didn't use it. And at the beginning, I feel like with a lot of characters, mana is going to be really hard to sustain. A lot of the abilities in general from every class is going to require a good amount of mana. At least for half of the classes. So Glacial Cascade's one of the skills I'll be running. I'm going Monk Invoker. That's a nice, really good skill. I think cold damage is going to be pretty strong. So you're going to want to have like a good balance with what you're speccing into your character too. This might be a boss fight here. Yeah. This is pretty cool. So this is an Act 2. One of the bosses, the Colossus. So spoiler alert, the Colossus will be one of the main bosses in Act 2. This is what I've seen from other footage too. You gotta like dodge these little balls that he kind of shoots out all over too, or else you can get one shot. Pretty. That's why the bosses are gonna be very hard. You gotta know the mechanics and then still deal a lot of damage. Now they're doing pretty good damage. See, this is where the bell is pretty good. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. So you can use an ability, whatever it is, say like the airbending, into the bell and then hit it, and then it shoots out, dealing a good amount of AoE. Again, this is the boss in the second act. That looks pretty nuts. So like, kind of learning the mechanics to dodge all that. Dodge mechanics are awesome in this game, though. I don't know why he keeps summoning the bell, but then he doesn't actually use it. Should pick up his buddy there. See, that's one thing that kills me is like, you got somebody down, why wouldn't you pick him up? Just too focused on doing damage. Pretty nuts. This is kind of like a Cyclops freaking shoots that laser beam out of his eyes. It's kind of cool. The bosses are pretty awesome in my opinion in this game. They put a lot of visuals into it. The art, like, it's really cool. The fact that we're getting 100 of these guys in the actual launch. We're getting 50 of them in early access. Still a lot of bosses. Nice.
A rather unfair observation.
Hey.
As we have also developed a key
Thank you very much for the follow.
of ales and the smoking
Appreciate
pipe.
Samurai God. Cool name. I like that. Samurai God. Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate it. So that's a pretty cool double monk gameplay. We're going to be going monk, invoker.
All right, so Frosty is a solid memer. Let's watch this.
I don't care about that.
POE2.
I want to see
We got
some more.
Path of Exile 2 footage for you.
This is I want to see more monk gameplay here. This was the beginning of the campaign. We don't really want to see that. I was kind of customizing, creating a build without actually like testing out a lot of these skills, but a lot of them sounded pretty cool for the monk. Like killing palm. A lot of the monks' attacks, a lot of their weapons are going to require quarterstaff. That's just how the monk kind of works. I was looking at killing palm, which looks cool. 5 to 9 added attack physical damage. Calling strike. You're going to need a lot of crit damage, crit chance to the monk. He's a dexterity, intelligence style build. So you're going to spec a lot of skills around those, around that. He does a lot of AoE crit. So I'm going to go as well. Wave of Frost. This one's pretty cool. Converts 80% of your physical damage to cold, because I'm going to go like a cold style build. Cold damage. Again, this one's pretty cool too if you want to get into like the Falling Thunder. So this converts physical damage to lightning damage. 25% more damage per power charge consumed. That one looks really cool. Flicker step look cool. So as we've seen in the gameplay, like you flicker, I guess like exactly if you came from POE1 or say even Diablo, if you're a Diablo player coming over to Path of Exile, they have like the ruin where you can teleport. It's exactly the same thing. You just teleport along, dealing lightning damage. This one looks pretty cool as well. The freezing mark. So mark duration 8 seconds. Hits marked enemies cause 100% more freeze buildup because I'm going cold damage. So I'm going to want to do a lot of freezing targets, and then try to inflict as much cold damage as I can. Tempest Bell looks cool. I mean, we've all seen that. Just have the bell. You put focus your attacks into the bell, and then it does a large AoE damage into the bell, stacking more damage. Vaulting impact. This one looks cool. Yo, Gambone, what's up, brother? Is the early access out now, or when does it come out? I wish. Oh God, I wish. Nope, it's not out till December 6th. So it comes out December 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's as long as like all the servers kind of can handle the bandwidth of just the amount of people that are going to be jumping into the game. I'm going to be streaming it all day, all night. We're going to go as long as we can. I'm doing a giveaway this Saturday, November 30th. It started at 1 p.m., ended at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're looking for an early access key, make sure you tune into the channel. Check it out. I got you. My buddies are hyping up. Hell yeah. Never played it myself, but thinking about getting into it. What games did you play prior to Path of Exile? Did you ever play? You never played Path of Exile 1? Gambo? Did you, or are you just coming from like Diablo? Play any other ARPGs? This one's it's gonna be good. Has a lot of hype. So a lot of the this is kind of like a little breakdown just for the equipment system. So you're going to be like a Sork. This is kind of like a lot of Sork stuff. So this staff, actually, this is a unique staff. This one looks pretty dope. So it's 80% increased fire damage, 19% increased cast speed. Cast speed is something you're really going to want to focus on, along as obviously intelligence, but depending what style you want to go for your Sork, if you want to do fire damage, lightning damage, cold damage, whatever. But cast speed's important, 100% increased chance to ignite. So this is like a really good fire staff for a fire build. You're going to want to use like the flame wall or cast a flame wall basically around like the targets. Use this, you're going to ignite, dealing a lot of damage. Pretty cool stuff here. But the end game, if you're not familiar with it, you're going to be doing these trials of, there's different trials. There's trials of chaos and then trials of the Sechimus. So you just explore these. That's part of the end game. There's different types. So you're going to be in an atlas in the end game, and then there's going to be different types of end game activities to do within that. So it's Trials of Chaos, Breach. Breach is basically like a timed wave event where enemies keep spawning. The more you kill, the more spawns. The more you kill, the more loot will drop. Expedition looks like a very cool one. It's basically like you'll have items like loot on the ground, and then you'll want to chain a line, like a dynamite line, to try to like do a certain perimeter around the loot to try to get as much explosion as possible for a chance to get some of that loot. But when it explodes around the loot, you're going to have lots of enemies swarm you. So it's going to be like a kind of you got to survive type thing with a large amount of enemies. It's going to be very tough. Ritual is another one where you have this ritual tree thing, and then there's going to be like a diameter around that statue. And then there's going to be enemies, like waves of enemies spawning. And you just got to take them down. There's Delirium. Delirium's another one. Some maps have been reached by insanity. Mysterious entity has taken special interest in you. Step through the looking glass and you will find your nightmares are coming to life. I don't know. It sounds like a cool one. I haven't really looked into too much of Delirium. And then you just another part of the pinnacles face the pinnacle threat. Just going to be like big boss battles. So if you're looking like just to go in, you can focus on just one of these two when you're in the end game. You can just keep doing breaches, and then that will start unlocking a lot of the like the ascension tree, or not ascension tree, but the trees based on each of these end game activities. So there'll be separate trees for each of these activities, and then your main tree, and then your ascension tree. So you guys will all get kind of used to that as you enter the end game. The end game has a lot of stuff to it. Cambone, gotcha. Okay, we read that. I played D4, but that's about it. Mostly WoW. Okay, so you're coming from like WoW into this style of ARPG. It's just it's crazy, dude. It's gonna be a lot of fun. You'll enjoy it, especially if your buddies, like you're playing with somebody who's used to this style of game. Maybe they came from Path of Exile or Diablo. Diablo is definitely the more easier version of this, like out of the two ARPGs. I came from Diablo 4 as well. I played a bit of Path of Exile 1, and I played a lot of Last Epoch. So Last Epoch was a game I loved. So I see a lot of similarities with Last Epoch to this. It's going to be a lot of news.
A rather unfair observation, as we have also.
Hey, appreciate it, buddy. My man. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate the follow. Thank you. I'll be streaming live as well on launch. Let's hope we can get in. I think the servers are going to be insane. I'm going as a monk. Have you thought of a class you want to go about? Is there a specific class you're thinking of choosing? What do you guys, any other people, anyone else have a class you're going into the game with? Like, you know, for sure. There's a lot of options that are viable, good. If you're first time player to Path of Exile 2, and you just want kind of like an easier transition into the game with a class, the best class I would recommend would be a warrior. They seem to be the best overall for tankiness, damage. Overall, it's going to be really good. The reason I want to go as monk, though, is just personal preference. I like, I've always liked dexterity builds, but the fact that, and what I mean by dexterity builds, I just mean like speed. Dexterity's always been based around like speed and combo style classes, but I like the fact that it's going to have a bit of, like, you know, intelligence side to it. So that's where it mixes with like a sorceress style too, so you can control the elements, which is really cool, just like an avatar. You know, the range is it's decent on this. Complexity, speed's very good. Clear is going to be very good. Tankiness is good. It's just all around a very good build as well. So that's what I'm thinking on that. I'm thinking monk invoker for myself. I've seen some other, you know.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
I've seen other builds as well
kind of
that look, or classes that look pretty good with their ascendancy.
Talk about a handful of these little ascendancies.
I think this one's going to be very underrated. The sorceress chronomancer, like how you can control time, and the fact that we only know what 3 out of, like, you know, the 5 other nodes are. It's very hard to know what these other ones are going to be. It could make it like an extreme OP class, or it could be just complete crap. But I think from what I've been hearing, little hints from Jonathan Rogers, he said like he put a lot of time into this specific class. So the chronomancer is going to be it's going to be really cool. Like how you can control time, and then you just get your mana and your health back. And your skills also. So I don't know, that one's really cool.
That I found interesting, or something that was.
Let's see what this guy's saying here about the chronomancer. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, chronomancer was probably by far the most interesting one. We've never seen anything like this. This is something I found on Reddit. Shout out to the guy who set this up. You're an angel in disguise. He has put together a bunch of these ascendancies.
What do you recommend for first time? Yeah, I would recommend a warrior.
Out in the open for you. So I'll leave the link in the
100%
comment section and description if you guys are interested in any of these.
For sure.
Wide open.
The only thing though, it's
go back and look at the video.
Just depends on your play style too, though. Like if you don't really want to play a character that's slow, I wouldn't recommend warrior. But the thing is, he's slow, but he's very tanky. If you want like a fast speed build, then monk is where it's at.
The other day, I'm still going to use reference from the live stream, reveal, but I am very interested in talking about the chronomancer. So, where do I start? So, the chronomancer is obviously a manipulator of time and space, which is very interesting to me because, like, POE1 kind of ran into this. They didn't really push. They kind of gave us a skill or two that manipulated like a space and time type thing. Like,
I don't know what this guy's really getting into here.
If anybody plays Dota 2, or if it said like, I thought this skill would be used a lot more in scenarios, like maybe the Gauntlet or hardcore modes, and you didn't see it ever. I don't think I saw Temporal Rift in a single build in Path of Exile, to be honest with you. So it's pretty cool that they're actually trying to throw this in and make use of it, and actually have an ascendancy that involves this kind of archetype, which is dope.
How good is it going to be?
Man,
it's cool you can control time and stuff, but is it going to be actually that good?
We don't really know the ins and outs specifically. They've
like, are you going to be able to do a lot of damage or no?
Veil the shadows with all the specific information for POE2, but like judging from the gameplay,
or is it kind of like a supporter class?
Temporal Rift will probably be used because of the way the game is designed for, in particular, bossing, which is very nice, where you only get one life, which references like a medium core / hardcore vibe. It's going to be used quite a bit, which fits her theme, and also, if you combine 1, 2, and 3 together, it kind of works. Which obviously, if you look at the screen,
in game, there's dungeons that depend on speed builds. Yeah, there is.
4,
like,
5, 6,
well, just like breaches.
7. Like there's
a lot of the.
Another 4 nodes.
To be honest, like a lot of the end game does require a lot of speed. Cambone. So like, expeditions, well, not really. Expeditions kind of just like mobs attacking you. Same with ritual. They come to you in big groups, and then you just kind of take them out. So warrior be really good for that, like good AoE, strong attacks, bosses. Warrior's going to be good. But probably not like ones like Delirium or Expedition, or not Expedition. What was the other one there? On the top of my tongue. But the Breach. Yeah, so Breach, that's like a time trial one. Like you gotta kind of move along, going through the map, clearing enemies, which the more enemies you clear as you're going through, it kind of stops the time, the countdown time. And there's going to just keep being like more and more and more enemies that spawn, which make it hard to kind of get through. But it's going to be a mixture. It's going to be like some end game activities are going to be based on like speed and obviously strength, survivability. There's going to be other ones that are just like pure strength with survivability. Survivability is going to be the biggest thing in this game, period. So you got to make sure you're always capping your elemental resistances, your defenses, your armor. That'd be my first, like, that's going to be my priority, is looking for that stuff first with a little bit of damage, obviously. Which you still need to do damage, but make sure you're definitely getting those, you're working your way to those caps for your defense, or you're just going to be getting drilled every 2 seconds, having a hard time staying alive. That's definitely the biggest thing.
And I'm sure they manipulate time and have some sort of ability, or
I'm just not sure about this Chronomancer
in general. I just thought it was pretty cool they threw a POE1 skill in. Cool beans. Number 2, like time freeze, locks enemies in place. This is the one that everybody's eyes popped out of their head. You know, the heads exploded and stuff.
Everyone's eyes popped out of their head.
I'll throw it in the video, I'm sure. Mind blown emoji. I mean, literally, on top of it, already looked cool. The concept of freezing time is awesome. So my thoughts for this one is, this ultimate command time freeze skill will be amazing if it's tagged with duration. If we can manipulate the amount of
it's very
time
possible.
to hold something in place, it would be insane. We have never
as long as there's like with these other nodes, there's like a duration to it. That's gonna be huge.
Time freeze. If it's a set time, sure, maybe you can use it to get out of trouble.
Like we don't even know what these other nodes are. These major nodes.
Being used to, like,
this could be a very underrated build. Like I just wouldn't start the season with it. That's the thing, is like a lot of these other classes and ascendancies look awesome. And like they made it look very cool during a lot of the opening cinematics for the classes that you know, Grinding Gear Games showed us some clips. But the problem is we don't know what these other skills are going to be. Like, could be duration, could be skill buffs, damage buffs. I mean, it's a little bit unknown. If you want to go into the season starting a class and spec into that ascendancy, like the Chronomancer, instead of the Stormweaver for the Sork, then you're taking a gamble, because if it's not going to be that good and you're just finding, oh, this sucks, and you're stuck with it, you got to start a whole new class. All right, buddy. Yep. Have a good one. I'll catch you. Thanks for the follow. Check me out again on the next stream if you're on. Chilling. We'll chill out. Vibe. Giveaway is this Saturday for a chance to win the key, and do another one on release day. So take care. Have a good day. Appreciate conversations. But yeah, Chronomancer is going to be very interesting. I don't know. It's definitely one to look out for. I think it could be a good build. Good builds based around this ascendancy. The other thing is, when you pick an ascendancy, guys, like you can't switch to a different ascendancy. Like you're stuck with that ascendancy. There's no changing. So you got to really make sure kind of do your research, figure out what you want to pick. Like for me, I'm going Monk Invoker. I can't switch to Chayula like at any point in time in the game. It's almost like it is where you got to restart the whole game on a new character, and then go that Chayula route for the Monk, for example. So that's something that's really important to know, that you're stuck with the ascendancy you pick. So you got to really know what you want to choose.
In place is very valuable, especially in games like this, and the way we've seen POE2 designed is a little bit different than POE1. monsters fight back more than
Oh,
in POE2.
that's pretty much more or less like we don't know what the other nodes are. You can't really elaborate too much more on this. We only know what we know based on what we see here. Did they say that? Yeah, Jonathan Rogers said that. What up, Soup? How's your day going, man? Jonathan Rogers said that, which we're going to get into the video here. Talkative Try had his discussion. Asked him a bunch of questions last night. I watched the whole thing. We'll just kind of recap it because I might have missed some stuff. But he said when you pick your ascendancy, you're stuck with it. You cannot switch to a different ascendancy. You have to create a whole new class and go that other ascendancy route. So we're all going in blind. So I mean, it's gonna be tough.
Okay, man.
Let's start it
like
up.
I said a second ago,
If you haven't watched
we're
this,
9 days
you're in for a
out
treat.
from Path of Exile 2 launching, and everyone I'm talking to is excited.
It's a
It
long
doesn't
video,
matter if they've
so
been
we'll
playing
kind of sum it
Path
up a
of
little
Exile 1
bit.
for years. It doesn't matter if they literally haven't played video games ever. I show them just a snippet from the trailer, and they are ready to log
Yeah, it's
in
going to be annoying, dude,
on
but
December 6th. So my
that kind
first
of makes it
question,
fun, though.
What's the secret sauce? How are you guys doing
It
this?
kind of makes it fun, though, because it's like, it gives you more variety at the end of it, right? Like, we only have 6 classes, but really, when you think about it, we have 12 because of the different ascendancies. Like, you're stuck with that ascendancy and you build your character around that ascendancy, but then you can make another class of that, of the same one, but pick a different ascendancy. So it just gives you more variety. Just cool.
How is grinding your games making non-gamers?
So when we have
ready to
12, we're
log
going to
into
actually
a
have like
hardcore
24 different
ARPG?
I think we just have a
variants of the classes.
When we're presenting our content, we always do it in a way where we're thinking about, like how are people going to react to it? Like, we just, and the other thing as well is that we're not afraid to put information in our videos. Like, I think a lot of people are kind of like, hey, tone it back a little bit, like people don't need so much information, this kind of stuff. But personally,
But having to redo it,
just like,
that's
the
the sad part.
And if you do that, I think people get
like, yeah, that's the sad part is having to redo the campaign is going to suck over and over, but that's where they get you, right? That's where they want you to spend a lot of your time. That's what's going to really make their game last over time too, is creating new characters, ascensions, redoing it, different builds, different mechanics. There's going to be so many different types of builds around each ascendancy of each class. So that's where you get kind of crazy, and it's going to be nuts. It's going to be a lot of, we'll have to see how that kind of all unfolds, but it's going to be interesting. That's why you got to really pick the right class you want to pick and see where it kind of leads into as far as builds. But hopefully each build is going to be good. So you don't have to keep switching different ascendancies if it's something that's not really that great.
excited. So, I guess that's my philosophy about it anyway. And I think people do resonate with that. If you show them just, show them what you got cooking and show them gameplay, show them, how they're able to use all the tools you give them. And I think they'll be excited.
Definitely. And I hate to bring it up, but it wasn't an interview that dropped today with Legendary Drops. How just during the Settlers of Kalgur reveal, you all pivoted to focus entirely on endgame. How is your company that agile? Because I work at a company of about 70 people.
Right.
We are not agile at all. What are your processes like internally as developers? Like, how can you move on a dime and just go in?
I mean, I guess it's just about not being afraid to do it, right? I mean, certainly it causes some consternation, right? I mean, nobody likes being like jerked around from one task to the other, that kind of thing. But I think it is important because it just gives us the ability to really make sure we're reacting to what we think is important. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say really. I mean, just like, we just have to make those kinds of decisions and just tell people, this is really what we have to do. Like when you realize that you're not doing the right thing, you really have to jump on, you can't just sort of say, oh, well, we just keep doing the wrong thing just because there's so much inertia, right? Like you have to actually try to turn the ship around. And so, yeah, that's what we did.
Awesome. All right, Jonathan, I have the interview broken down into various different categories here. I wanted to start with questions about new players in particular and just people logging into the game, playing it for the first time.
Some good questions in this video.
So I wanted to start with the fact that in Path of Exile 1, it's renowned for not many people making it even to Brutus. I mean, I know it's a free-to-play game. A lot of people try it out, but even when it was paid, I'm sure a lot of people bounced early on. So I'm curious, first 5 minutes of Path of Exile 2, do you think that onboarding experience is solid and you're going to really wrap people in and get them progressing further into the game?
I'm pretty sure it is. And I think that, like, if you're talking about literally the first 5 minutes, then I think that what will really just get you in is the fact that just the feeling of combat is much better. And that's really the thing you're going to appreciate from the first moment that you start playing. The other thing as well is we have a lot of, not necessarily, I mean, in the first 5 minutes, you're going to come upon your first boss, right? And that will be a much more engaging experience than Hillock was, you know what I mean? Like the first boss is significantly better. But even just after that, right? Even the first 15 minutes, there's like other bosses really close. You're sort of getting into that experience of having the more interesting combat and more interesting things going on just sort of right away. And you know, it's funny. I had a friend over at my place who was playing the game the other day, and there was a word I thought was really interesting that he used for this. He's like, "Oh, you're so generous with the content," and I was kind of
generous.
Like, kind of an interesting way to look at it is like, you know, like you know, he's kind of like you're giving people what they want so quickly.
Yeah, like, unlike Diablo.
You know, I find that's a kind of an
unfortunately,
but you know, yeah, I mean,
we're on season 7 now and still don't have everything we want.
Even in the from the very beginning, like before we even made Path of Exile 1, like when we founded the company, one of the things that I had as my metric is like, what's the time to first zombie? You know what I mean? Like, when's the first moment you can actually kill something? You know, like you just kill like a basic enemy. And I kind of want to make that sure that that's as minimal as possible. And that's why we kind of make sure that we start the game the way we do with like action immediately and that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's kind of just a philosophy we've always had.
Definitely. Getting people right into the action is important, and lots of people, especially viewers of my channel, are completely new Path of Exile players. They've never played an ARPG, they never played Path of Exile 1.
So this is good information for people new coming to Path of Exile 2.
What is the busted build? What is the archetype?
Everybody wants to know.
Log in and play on December 6th if they
He's
want
not
to
gonna tell.
the action fast. I'm not going to use you for clickbait videos, Jonathan. I'm just wondering, from your view, I know you said people really like the monk that had a high satisfaction score, but is it the most powerful?
Not necessarily. I mean, I honestly don't know that I should be recommending.
Mercenary is definitely going to be the most powerful.
I've said a few times, I think that I think the mercenary could be a very good new player-friendly class, both because you're further away from the action and just because of that like instant response of everything. Like you know, if you're going to pick something like the warrior or something like that, you're going to have to worry about the fact that you know, you have to commit to attacks and this kind of stuff. Whereas with something like the mercenary, because it's so fast from the point where you like, you know, attack and the point you recover, and also because you're further back, I think that could be a very good choice for new players. But honestly, like any class can work, like any class can be the one that you work. And look, the main reason why we have classes in the first place, like, because I mean, we could be a game that just has like zero you know, introductory stuff. Like, we already let you choose between all and mix and match all the different skills and weapons and things like that. So the reason why we have classes at all is because people really want like a stereotype to latch onto when they start the game, to think about like, okay, how am I going to build my character, right? So you show them some things like, you know, like here's a ranger and here's a sorceress and so on. And then when they see that, they immediately get an idea in their head about what kind of thing it is that they might want to do. So I think that when it comes to that, like, you're best off just picking like what excites you, right? Like what is the thing that just makes you feel like, oh yeah, I could see how I'm going to play this, right? And so you do that, and then I think you'll have a good time.
I baited you into that answer. That's exactly what we wanted to hear, man. Whatever you're going to have the most fun with. And I'm curious on character selection. I know it was talked about in the past that ascendancies might appear on that screen. Are they still not there, and you find out about them in the trials?
Yeah, they're still not there. Look, that screen is certainly something that needs some UI attention. We just haven't had time to work on it more. There's so many things I would still improve even now. But I mean, look, that's what the early access is for, right? There's going to be tons of time to improve on that stuff. But yeah, for the beginning, it's just like, you know, pick what you think sounds like it would be cool, right? And we do have a few like little videos of skills and things like that on that screen, which like show, you know, and like it kind of gives like, so it gives kind of 3 main points for each class of like, here's the kind of things you can expect from that class. And there's a little video for each one as well. So we've got a little bit of information there, but we don't have like, full on ascendancy classes and everything there. I think there's room for that sort of stuff, but not at the moment.
Okay, awesome. Now I want to move on to testing and what new players, completely new players to ARPGs, found the most challenging in Path of Exile 2. I've heard that Path of Exile 1 players were just
Thumbverse Beats. How's it going, buddy? Hope you're doing good today. Thanks for tuning into the channel.
We're kind of fine with it.
Gameplay in POE2 is going to be like no rest for the wicked.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it is, dude.
First users on December 6th. What did they
For
find
sure.
hard?
It looks awesome. Like
So
it's going to
definitely
be
the things they were finding the most challenging was the character customization.
It's going to be a lot
and
like
stuff, right? Like that's where they're
obviously
kind of,
POE1,
potentially
last
finding
epoch.
that they,
It's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of. You're going to have to sink a lot of hours into the end game to actually like progress in. Basically, the campaign's going to be like 20 to 25 hours. If you go through it fast, you're going to probably get it done in 15. But once you get to end game, that's going to be like where you're going to really. That's going to be the bread. It's going to be the breadwinner. Basically, all the activity, gameplay, everything you're going to sink thousands of hours into if you want. Each class, there's so much possibilities, customizations. I'm going to be making an Invoker Monk build. Probably do a little bit of like lightning, cold damage. Already kind of tested out with this planner here, which I'll put in the chat, which is kind of cool. It just shows you a lot of the skills for each class. It's like a little build guide on how you want to build your character with what skills, support gems, etc. With how you can get a basic idea. It doesn't show you like what each skill does, but if you just kind of read through the text, you get a basic idea. With the monk, dexterity, intelligence, so a lot of it. My weapon's going to be a quarterstaff. It kind of tells you, it goes through each skill, like Wave of Frost, Glacial Cascade, Falling Thunder, Flicker Strike, Freezing Mark, etc. Like I'm doing like a cold build, so there'll be a lot of stuff there. It's a good, really useful tool if anybody wants to check that out. Oops. I just got rid of the video. 1 second, we'll get back into it.
What do you feel like you're skilled at and that kind of stuff? Like, try to sort of get a gauge for like, how people rate their own skills in different
This is good information, guys, if you haven't watched this video.
That was the part that people
a lot of good questions for POE2.
Things to improve in that area, I think, since then. I mean, like, it's just kind of subtle stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be good, dude.
We've just been, carefully.
You'll like it. If you ever played last epoch, POE1, which you didn't, Diablo, any ARPG, this is going to be setting like a whole new standard to ARPGs.
In the crafting bench system that we had and things like that. So there's things like that I think that will help a lot. So that's kind of the stuff that I think new players find the hardest. And then I think that's
definitely
really
something to check out.
I mean, like there's a lot of stats, there's a lot of.
And again, guys, I am doing early access key giveaway this Saturday, November 30th at 1 p.m. We're going to start it and we're going to end it at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So you have a chance to get that early access key and play the game December 6th. And then we'll do another giveaway probably on launch day. Launch will start December 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern if all things go well. Everything goes well with the servers. And he actually makes a comment in this video saying, I hope we can actually withstand the amount of people that are going to be jumping into this game and the servers can handle it. He's like, if everything goes well with the servers, I will be playing the game also, which is coming from Jonathan Rogers. So he's excited actually to play his own game as well.
Things
on launch.
We just have to make sure that we're not overwhelming you too much with that stuff. And of course, there's
it is like that in a sense. Don't rest for the wicked. It is in a sense.
That's really the stuff that I would say that new players find the hardest.
Combat is very similar.
Now, during the betas, I know that there were a few closed beta tests. People were freaking out when they first got those NDA invites and everything. Between those tests, what were the largest changes? And did you really change a lot about the game after the tests themselves? Because I know like when we went to LA, you took a ton of feedback and made a huge number of changes just between March and June. Did that happen again with all the beta tests this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of it really comes down to difficulty. But the thing with difficulty is...
If you like that game, you'll like Path of Exile too, for sure.
But they don't know why it's too hard. And the reasons can be hugely varied between like, it's just this one boss ability to like, the entire way you're scaling spell damage is incorrect or, random stuff like that. So there's all sorts of things. And it's always just, can we tease out what exactly it is that people are running into that's the most, that's the reason for the thing they're finding hard. So... I think there was a variety of changes. So one of them was like, the map change where, you can see what's out there so you know what to find. A lot of it was down to, more specific item drops around the place. Then there were things like the flask change. So the flask change was pretty big, I think, because that one really was like people dying to because they were fumbling their flasks. But it took quite a while to identify that was like an issue. Like we knew that we kind of knew.
Yeah, you have a good day too, brother. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Follow if you want to enter in the giveaway this Saturday. I'm going to be streaming gameplay on December 6th as well.
And it's like
It's a lot to choose from class-wise, so can't go wrong. All classes look great.
Going deep on it, like it can actually.
You have a good day too, brother. Thank you again.
Something that's weak without realizing it, and so you need to make sure that everything on there is reasonable. So there's quite a lot, sort of like as I said, it really all comes down to those details that make sure that the game is feeling right. And I think that without doing a lot of those tests, it would have been very hard to appreciate some of those problems because you just don't, when you're playing yourself, there's actually like a tendency where you'll always pick the stuff you kind of know is good subconsciously. So I actually have like a thing when I'm playing now where often I'm like, okay, I'm going to pick what I want and then I'm going to do the opposite of that. Like in order to kind of force myself down the kind of like the not golden path of like, what if you were the what if I picked the worst choice every time for like, what are you doing? Like, how can I make sure that that's like not too terrible? So that's kind of another thing you kind of have to make sure that you're doing as well.
Definitely. I have two follow-ups from that question. First, and I don't want you to commit to a release cadence or anything, but once we go into early access, do you see the team making large balance changes pretty quickly? Kind of like Path of Exile 1. I'm notorious for going into the freaking ancient history of POE1 and seeing that when it first released, weekly updates, going in, making huge balance changes, wild swings back and forth, passive tree resets every like 11 days and the like. Do you see that happening with early access given how much larger scale it seems it's going to be, or is it going to be more stretched out?
The draw is until November 30th.
So I think there's going to be a couple of different things depending on what type of thing we're talking about here. So for balance changes,
November 30th, 1 p.m.
In that first week, we're going to be just doing a storm of crazy things, you know, just because like there'll be.
So I won't start the
cases where like
the giveaway bot until
tested bosses with certain builds and things like
Saturday.
That, right? Like especially in the end game, which has had less testing obviously than the start of the game. So there's going to just be things where it's like someone will be like, oh, this boss is just impossible with minions, and like someone probably did test it with minions at some point to make sure the AI is good, but there probably wasn't like a really like is this actually easy enough, like that kind of stuff. Like you'll get changes like that, and I'm sure there'll just be cases where we need to make those kinds of changes. So and the other thing that's going to be, I'm sure, is just lots of like someone finds something that's just like not just busted in a normal way things are allowed to be busted, but like busted in a
I'll start it Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern.
I'm sure that will happen, and as long as we can fix that stuff
just so there isn't.
I think that we may have to do a few things like that. But
I just don't want to start it early like that, because then if people are entering the draw that are just dropping by, and one of those people win and they're not there, then it's kind of just a waste of time there. We will be testing out some of the PTR Season 7 on December 3rd as well. Probably be running a Barb or a Sork.
But ideally we don't, but we'll see how that goes. So I'm sure on the first week there'll just be lots of that stuff. But if you're talking about like larger content inclusions, like if we're talking about like new classes and like more sort of content type things, I suspect that we'll probably batch those up into like a larger cycle. Probably like, I mean, we were thinking like 2 months. It might end up being 3. Like I'm not entirely certain. But we'll kind of like work that out when we go there. The funny thing is like, so like months ago we had plans for what we wanted to do immediately after release, but as you get closer to release, like everything just falls apart, and you kind of have to be like, okay, after release we'll just have to take stock and see where we are, because no contact survives. No plan survives contact with the enemy, as they say. So we'll just have to sort of reassess and see what's going on at that point. But effectively, yeah, we'll probably do larger updates, just because I think. In order to actually get good testing for something, you have to get enough players back to actually test it substantially. And people certainly are much more willing to come back for a larger update than they are for a smaller one. So I think that's kind of important. We actually noticed in POE1 when we were doing the weekly updates that, we didn't really see like a lot of people come back for them. Like the people who were playing were really happy, but the people who weren't playing it wasn't rising to the level of them actually coming back. So I think it's better to make sure that if you've got a new update for even in early access, you want to make sure there's enough to kind of sustain it. But of course, that doesn't mean that we're not going to fix all the like random small issues that like anything that doesn't like that wouldn't be an attractive thing for someone to come back for. You might as well just put it in immediately because like that's just that like bug fixes and just little balance changes because it's not like a big deal anyway. So you might as well just throw it in there.
Definitely. Now, I have to ask because I have been yearning ever since I saw it at ExileCon 2023. The Druid, the bear form.
Yeah.
Is that the reasons the Druid is delayed? Because it's got crazy animation problems with WASD, or is it just the final bit of polish on the third form?
No, it's not that. It's just literally that we had to pick something. We had to pick like when we were slimming down for early access a little bit because as I said we're going to have 8. When we're slimming down, we're like, look, unfortunately, the Druid is going to have to be on the chopping block for now.
Sucks. I was looking forward to the Druid.
It was really sad, but we just had to pick our battles, and like I have no doubt that that'll be one of the next ones that comes out. And the reason ultimately is that making a new form for the Druid just is a lot of work. One of the forms wasn't done. We looked at the amount of work it would take to get the Druid over the line, and we're just like, look, if we can not have that, especially because when it comes to the stuff, it's like if you're talking about adding like a new animal form, that's like work that could go into like making a new boss fight or something like that. Because it's the same kind of like it's the animation team. Ultimately, you have to do like a bunch of work to do that stuff. Rigging or just all that stuff has to happen. So it isn't just the sort of skills pipeline, as we might call it, that has to be worrying with that. It's also the the kind of the animation team who work on that stuff. So when we look at that, it's just like, look, if we cut this, it's going to add more content elsewhere. Versus if we cut this other class where it wouldn't really so much. So that's kind of how those decisions get made.
Right. That makes total sense. Now I have 2 very quick ascendancy questions for you, and then
so here you go. This is the
first
important questions.
When we spoke in March, I tried to get some ascendancy details out of you, and you said you were working on a broken sorceress ascendancy. You didn't know if it was going to make it into the game.
It was a chronomancer
into the game, or are we not?
So that was the chronomancer, the like time stop and everything. Like I just. I mean, the moment you tell people you can, like, the moment we're like, oh, we want to be able to stop time, it's like immediately, that's how do you make
Powerful.
that not OP? It was absolutely that. It's very fun to use. It's just really cool.
Awesome. Glad to hear it made it into the game. And then the other ascendancy question. Can you change ascendancies in POE2?
There you go, Superman.
So you actually can't right now. I think I did another.
So you're locked in.
Where I thought that we could, but I believe that you can't at the moment. There's probably more.
Might change later though.
I do know that certainly some designers are very keen to be that a locked choice. We'll talk about that more. We'll see how that goes. But at the moment you can't, and so that'll be how it goes into early access anyway.
Okay, so for the foreseeable future, once you pick an ascendancy,
not necessarily. We'll as I said, we'll talk
It's
about
up in the air. It sounds like.
Okay.
Yeah, but in the moment, at least, you can't change them.
Okay, sounds great. Now, classes, just broad questions about the classes from me. So you've talked about the monk having the highest satisfaction score for everyone who's tested. Which class has the lowest satisfaction score, and what are you doing to perhaps bring it up?
I'm surprised about this one.
So the one thing to say is that the difference between these is not like super high, but the lowest one on that survey that we were referring to was actually the sorceress, funnily enough.
Really?
Sorceress, which is really weird.
The reason for it is just because in the skill set, there's not like quite as much combo stuff as what some of the other classes have, and so we actually, after that point, we did work a bit on that and try to sort of improve, make a few more of those things sort of work together a little bit.
So if anyone is just tuning into the channel, just missed an ascendancy question that he gave Jonathan Rogers about ascendancies, as far as when you pick an ascendancy, can you later change into a different ascendancy? And you cannot. That's how it is, at least for early access. Once you pick your class and pick that ascendancy for that class, you're stuck with it until you make a new character, and then you can choose a different ascendancy. They may change that later down the line, but as for right now, that's what it is. So that was the biggest detail on ascendancies.
What I've heard some people say about the sorceress is it's a little bit more in the POE1 direction of like there's less kind of like less cross element combinations than what some of the other classes have. So therefore, like if you do pick that class, like there will probably be more situations where it's like there's less, like you're probably going to use less skills overall than other classes, or rather, it's not so much that you will use that, but like you won't be forced into as much using more variety. So I think that's something we can still improve by just adding more synergies between the elements. But that's at least my understanding of probably why I think that's the case. But as I said, we've already made.
So that kind of concerns me. It sounds like sorceresses aren't going to be as versatile like with the dealing with different elements like the other classes can. So that's what he said was like one of the weakest. If he had to pick out of all the classes, it'd be the sorceress, just for the fact that it can't control different elements at the same time. So
some changes since the point when we did that survey. So I
it'll
think
only improve though.
Like somewhat improved already by that. But yeah, that was the thing. But I mean, as I said, we're talking like 0.1 of a
small scale.
Out of 5 stars, it's like 0.1 a star lower than the others. And like when you sort of dig into it, it's like yeah. But I mean, as I said, I think that's at least my reason for for why I think the sorcerer was like that. But yeah, that's kind of I mean, as I said, we can always improve that, and I think we have been as well.
Awesome. Just wanted to hear. I thought it would be a curious question.
Yeah.
Now, this one, I don't know if you can answer it or not, but everyone knows there's a monk in Path of Exile 2. Monks use quarterstaffs. Monks use their fists a little bit with finishers and, mobility skills. Are there any unarmed combat support options? Is the default attack supportable with your fist? Can you make something busted with it? Is that a thing in POE2 right now? Or
so I believe that default attack is supportable. I'm like 99% certain of that, but I have to admit, I haven't actually seen that user interface myself because I haven't made an unarmed build. There is a plan for a bunch of unarmed build support, but it actually did get cut for early access for the time being. So unfortunately,
they're going to add that later.
Say that face breakers will not make it in
face breakers
to early access, but we do have a plan for it. There is like a whole thing for that's going to support that with other stuff. Now, one of the reasons for that actually is that
Sammy, what's up, brother?
Of a ton of skills like animations.
Will couch co-op be limited to? Sorry, guys, I gotta. Will couch co-op be limited to 2 players, or can there be up to 4? It is limited, as far as I'm aware, to 2, but you can have up to 6 party members in your party. So you can have you and yourself on one console, and then you can invite other people. But yeah, it'll be 2.
Just for that reason alone, like it was just a bunch of animation work that we ended up not having time for. And effectively,
hopefully you're having a good day. Thanks for tuning into the channel.
One unique, because
Sam Tomley,
really is
thank you very much.
Key to being able to make unarmed damage like actually decent. There were a couple of other things as well that were sort of intended for unarmed things, but yeah, we're not going to do it for now. But it'll come in the future. We'll get to the point where you can do that.
Okay, is Face Breakers still a pair of gloves in POE2?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, this is a fun one just for you, Jonathan. What is your favorite skill to use in Path of Exile 2 right now? I know you're a mercenary fan. You're playing through as the mercenary right now. Is it on the merc or something else?
That is really tricky. Look, I mean, if we're talking about the merc, then my favorite thing is definitely the ice wall that shot us. What's it called? I can't remember even the name of it, but it's the one that fires a shot and then makes like 2 diagonal ice walls that come out, and then following up with the fragmentation rounds to explode them. Like I just love that combo. It just feels really satisfying to me.
I feel like mercenary is going to be very strong. Like Jonathan Rogers just talks highly about mercenary witch hunter all the time.
The monk, it's probably the bell.
Every interview I see him in.
So many little things about its design, and
I feel like every interview I see this guy in with somebody else, he's always talking about the mercenary witch hunter. He just loves that build. Just with the grenade explosion, cluster bombs, multiple projectiles with the crossbow, it's very strong. Its ascendancy with the witch hunter, it takes like 30% chunks out of like on its initial shot, it takes 30% out of a boss. His health, it's good for AoE speed clearing. But the only problem, it's just not my type of build personally, but if it is for you, it's going to be very strong. I just like being up close and doing combos, strikes, different elements. Depends what you're after, but if you like sitting back using a crossbow and dealing large damage, AoE damage with the cluster bombs,
it's just
gonna be strong.
Skill. Like I love that kind of thing. So,
but he likes it.
Those are definitely up there for 2 of my favorites. But I mean, there's always new stuff. There's lots of cool things, right? That's just the kind of stuff that I like to do.
The bell is incredible, and you guys even snuck a showcase of it with a crossbow, rapid shot.
Yes.
Into the,
yes. Yes.
Yeah, rapid shot looks nuts.
Just to give a hint to the idea that there might be some pretty interesting ways that you can do some pretty cool stuff.
Oh, definitely. All right, rapid fire question here. Can we use the weapon swap system passive skills to allocate keystones, or can they only allocate notables and travel nodes?
So you can't do keystones, but I actually do have some interesting stuff to talk about with this, because we were originally going to allow that, but then so the skill that actually originally was like that completely broke this, that we realized like this was going to be like not okay, was Necromantic Aegis, funnily enough. Which now, for anyone who doesn't, who hasn't played POE1, effectively what this does is it makes it so the stats from your shield are transferred onto your minions. But when you've got weapon swap involved, where like like if you can turn that on and off, it causes. The specific details of this are kind of complicated.
Gotcha. My kids will be on Xbox and I'll be playing on PC. Yeah, that's nice. So you guys can all party up for sure.
Just a whole lot of details around that were very complicated. And then at some point while we were discussing that,
that's awesome.
We kind of were like, okay, how are we going to even
2 p.m. Eastern, December 6th.
Then we're like, well, hang on, like, is it even okay for other keystones anyway? Like, when you really come right down to it, like, is Chaos Inoculation really okay if you can
Let's
turn
get it. It's going to be dope.
It's kind of supposed to be this like
Can't wait for
downside, and like if you can just like, you know, like it's kind of like we're kind of thinking maybe it wasn't okay, and then we sort of made the decision, you know what, maybe keystones should actually be not swappable like that, just because of the type of. I think that might be a balance problem too far even for us, like even as far as we're willing to like accept a lot of these kinds of problems. Like I think that might even be a bridge too far even for us. So yeah, we decided not to allow it, and that's what we're going with for now anyway.
Yeah, you knew people were already theory crafting ways to like get the perfect keystones on their side. Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
I think I'm going to play Monk.
Another rapid fire, if you know off the top
and see what else is good, what else goes.
Because people are already looking at the tree and trying to path through it.
With my kids, get them into it.
122 is the final count, and once you get all of the optional skill books and stuff.
Just
like
haven't had the extra.
Awesome.
I need to get
another rapid fire. This is a spicy
yeah, no, I got you.
Are you
100%? Your kids will love it though.
Button
Same.
respec if you have enough gold or if you pay a premium.
Be cool playing with you know, playing with them all together in a party. It's gonna be cool.
And like the thing is, I mean, yeah, I guess I can see why people would want that, but generally speaking,
you guys can all binge out.
Really encouraging, right? Like we want you to actually.
Hopefully, everybody gets in the servers on launch. That's my only thing.
I mean, look, it won't take you too long.
I play POE at the moment. Oh, so you know exactly. Then coming from POE 1 to POE 2.
I know it won't.
Just haven't let the kids get into it as it's way more complex. Yeah, it is. But this one's going to be a little more simplified. Maybe they'll grasp it a little easier.
How it works.
Yeah, so anytime you've got something that says overflow, it means that you're able to overcap that resource by up to double. So effectively, overflow just means, yeah, like if it's leech or if it's like, you know, any other kind of thing that gives you back life or for example, or mana or shield or whatever it is, it basically just means, yeah, you can get back up to double of that resource.
Okay, awesome. That makes sense even to me, and I'm pretty simple-minded about these mechanical sort of things. Awesome, thank you. Another rapid fire. Can you use skills granted by ascendancies in meta gems like Cast on Shock?
No, you can't. So when you get one of those ascendancy skills, they effectively just appear in your skill screen. Like they're not a gem; they're just kind of like there and locked in by that. So because you can't take them out and put them somewhere else, you can't put them in a meta gem.
Okay. And then meta gems, can you use multiple of the same meta gem? I know you can't repeat supports, but can you have 2 cast on ignites? In
you absolutely can, but of course you'll have to.
Okay, they're 15 and 14.
So you know that's
okay, nice.
That's why it's fine.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you guys released it.
They weren't ready for POE, no.
If you saw a scepter minion, ascendance, or not ascendance.
Yeah.
But if you got them into other games, like other ARPG games, then at least they'll have a little bit of an idea.
It's just awesome.
I find like start them off in like Diablo, get them a little bit of an idea.
A little bit about
this one's going to be not as complex as POE 1. It'll be a good balance.
The Raven fight and the Executioner fight hard locked me for combined about 4 hours. What right now do you think is the hardest boss fight in Path of Exile 2's campaign? Not the end game, but the campaign itself. And do you think it potentially is going to hard lock a lot of players if they're stubborn and they get that Elden Ring mindset where they're just like, I'm just going in over and over. I'm not stopping until it hits 0.
Well, so we've definitely tried to like improve the issues that we had with that in that one. But what I would say is that the further you go into the game, the less kind of like of the feedback we've been able to address overall, just because, you know, if there's less of it, right? Like as you go further in. So effectively what that means is that I have no doubt that if there's a boss that's going to
That's cool. At least you're implementing them into gaming and stuff. And
something like that.
This will be
at the same time, like ideally the hardest
POE2 will be a big change for them then for sure.
Like that's kind of what you want in some sense. So
they might get hooked, dude.
Look, some of those fights are pretty hard. I don't know that there's one that I'd point to.
I'm telling you, they're going to play this game and they're going to be hooked.
kind of try to make sure that they're all
Hope you know what you're doing.
Relatively even keel,
Sam.
Or rather slowly increasing as you kind of go through. So yeah, my hope would be that the Act 3 end boss is one that people will find the hardest, and then ideally the second time through it's
hopefully your wife won't get too mad at you.
How it goes. And as I said,
as soon as you get your kids into POE2, they're going to be hooked. I'm telling you.
You'll find other stuff, you'll find more items and so on, and that'll definitely help you. And if you come back, you'll definitely do a lot better.
Question on bosses in regular versus ruthless, not ruthless, cruel. Do they have new abilities in cruel, or are they the same, just a little buffed with damage hit points?
So usually they don't have like completely new abilities, although I think that in some cases there might be a little bit of that. Usually what it is, it's kind of tweaking the parameters or the AI or the radii and like things like that, just like things about them. And it makes skills feel dangerous in new ways quite a lot of the time, just because like a skill can feel very differently just by changing where it is you go. So the same is true in maps as well, where once again you've got like we have to make sure that some of these bosses that were balanced for people who are level 10 or something are now able to.
Oh, that's awesome. Like so he knows then. If he's already playing POE, then he's set.
Leave them as they are. There has to be tweaks.
He knows. He knows what's up. What he's getting into then.
To make and they make the bosses feel quite different. The other thing as well that you have in Cruel is that there are just monster types that have been shifted around and things like that. Like so, the combat in areas can feel a little different as well. In some cases. So there's just little fun details like that that can vary things up and just vary the experience up a little bit.
It's almost going to be like Christmas morning when this game releases.
One more combat monster later.
December 6th, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be Christmas morning. I don't even care about Christmas this year. I just care about this game launching.
Modifiers. We haven't seen a lot of that in Path of Exile 2 in the past little while. We've seen some of it in the
I got 2 kids too. It's more like Christmas for me, December 6th, then Christmas for the kids on Christmas Day. So
how do you keep the monster's identity when you add a whole bunch of modifiers? Because all these monsters, they're unique fights in of themselves, right? So how do you keep that clean?
There's actually been quite a lot of specific work on rare monsters that I don't think we've talked about to anyone yet, actually, and it's probably quite interesting. So the first thing I will say about it is that we realized a while ago that it's actually like not every monster type makes sense as a rare. Like if you just have a rare zombie, it's just kind of like it's not a good fight. So we actually decided, hey, you know what? We're going to pick monsters that are going to be ones that can be rare. And bear in mind, many of them can. And then what we'll also do is if there are monsters that that don't work well as rares, maybe there's mechanic changes we can do for rare versions of that monster that could improve that. So then what we started to do is we're like, oh, you know what we're going to do? We're actually going to split out the monster types for monsters and then the rare version of that monster. And then we're actually going to do specific balance for the rares of those monsters. And that actually matters as well because there are mods that can go on certain monster types that like just completely blow out the life to unreasonable levels and things like that. Like there are actually cases where now that we've actually got the ability to do specific balance for a rare of a given monster type, we can actually tune that difficulty to make that much better. And so they'll get extra, they'll actually get extra abilities in some cases just because they're rare. Like I mean, as a random example, there are like the very first monster, the quill in the first area. So after the zombie, you've got the quill crab, which is these little things that shoot little spikes. And they also appear later on in the hunting grounds as like a poison version of those. And I believe
your birthday is December 21st. Nice, dude.
I think I'm getting this right. Then they immediately
mine's November 30th. This Saturday.
And I'm trying to remember the exact details of this.
It's my birthday, and I'm doing a giveaway.
On the ground, it explodes.
Anyone new to the channel here? Sorry, guys, for cutting the feed here quick, but I am doing early access key giveaway to Path of Exile 2 this Saturday. We'll start it at 1 p.m. Eastern time if you can make it. It's a chance to win a free Path of Exile 2 early access key. I will private message the winner the key, and that can be redeemed on console or PC. And we'll announce the winner at 2 p.m. On November 30th, and that's on my birthday. So we're doing a giveaway on my birthday. And then we'll do another one on launch December 6th. So tune into the channel and we'll have a couple keys to give away
afterwards or something like that. There's like some little thing that sort of happens. So effectively it's like there's like little specific things that we can do. And so that stuff, I think, helps a lot. And look, I'm sure we're going to do more of this, like after the early access is launched as well, like more things like that. But it really upgraded the rare fights quite a lot to be able to do that specific balance. And then, of course, you also have the mods. And once again, we're doing a whole pass on mods and trying to make them a lot better. I mean, look, there's even more we can add here, I'm sure. But trying to make sure that each of the rare mods that we add, like makes sense for the monster. We make sure that the rare mods, like there are pulls and tags, so that like you don't necessarily get every single mod on every single monster, to kind of make sure that they make sense and actually have a reasonable fight. And I don't even know if this got done, but there was talk at one point about having a for each rare. And once again, I don't know if this actually got implemented or not, but we were talking about having it so that for each monster, we make sure that at least one fun mod goes on the monster to kind of make it have like by what I mean by that is, like, we look at each monster type, we're like, okay, here's a set of different mods that are going to make it so that the fight has some kind of interest to it. We make sure the first step is like put one of those on it, and then after that, then we can kind of be more random with what the rest of the mods are, and things like that. So yeah, there was actually quite a lot of balance stuff there that went into that, and there's more to come. But I think that the rare fights you will find are significantly more interesting in POE2 than they were in POE1 because of all the specific attention that they had.
They definitely sound like it. Everybody's freaking out. That sounds amazing, especially that first system of just the monsters changing implicitly if they're rare versus if magic or normal. That's a great answer. Can you answer if Soul Eater is in Path of Exile too?
I actually don't know the answer to that. I
can't tell
ask Mark that one. So he's the one who's been setting up all that stuff. So I actually don't know. I would have to go check with him on that one.
All right. Lovely. Love the answer, man. Okay. Now we got a bulky section on Endgame that I want to dive into here. I want to start with, again, another infamous Path of Exile problem that we've experienced in Path of Exile 1. And I think it's one of the reasons you designed Path of Exile 2 in its endgame. One-shots. How are one-shots in endgame looking right now? I'm not talking about bosses using huge abilities and obviously one-shotting you, but I'm just talking about randomly mapping your mediocre defenses, and you just get one shot out of the blue. Is that happening in testing?
A rather unfair observation, as we have also
Hey, there he is.
the brewing of ales and the smoking of
SJT.
It's one of those things that's actually really hard to
thank you very much for the follow. Think that's you, Sam. Thank you very much. What up, brother?
Playstyle just might not get hit by.
Hopefully you're having a good day today.
You know, when the balance people do their initial balance, they try to get it right.
Thanks for following on the channel here. Appreciate it.
I have no doubt that at the start of early access,
so on Saturday you can enter into the early access key giveaway.
That'll happen. I mean, like
1 p.m. Eastern.
The beta test, there were these like spiders that were just like so nasty, and like we looked at the damage. And I don't remember exactly why this
good
occurred,
stuff.
It was just like, oh, it was literally doing 10 times the damage it was supposed to be doing, right? And like someone just made a typo.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Yet, like, we played it a bunch of times, and like none of the people
lunch break. Hell yeah.
Before we did a beta, noticed the fact that was happening, right? They just managed to avoid it all the time, or they only got hit by one of the bits, or something like that. And so we just missed it. Look, I'm sure that's going to happen, right? Like there will be some rough edges like that. But we'll, as soon as we hear about them, we will do our best to fix them. But look, we're trying to root out all that stuff as much as we can at the moment, and hopefully the players don't experience too much of that. Yeah, I'm sure it'll happen. But yeah, look, we don't want people to be just like randomly out of nowhere, just dying for nothing. Yeah, that's something we'll just have to make sure we're addressing as we get more balance testing in.
Right. The term I hear a lot from people, especially who went to the recent event in LA, is war of attrition. That's what it feels like in Acts 1, 2, and 3. So there's nothing really instant happening. You're fighting against monsters. They're draining you down. You're draining them down. And it's a war between you two. So there's no instant one-shots really happening unless it really is your fault. That's what I heard from like Big Ducks. He said, if I died, it was my fault. I felt good about that. I love that feeling. On monsters,
that is the goal that is the goal for sure, to make it feel that way.
Okay. And it sounds like the deadliness is on a by monster level. And a lot of people are curious. I think Mark said in the endgame presentation that every map is fully
I'm a superintendent, so my lunch lasts for as long as I want. Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome.
Anything that
nice. Today my boss said I can take off early. Hell yeah. Easy day then. Easy Wednesday for you.
Like one monster.
Also, guys, anybody in the channel, I want to wish everybody a good Thanksgiving for tomorrow. I'm in Canada, so we already had our Thanksgiving, so that's already been long gone and done with. That was back in October for our Thanksgiving. But for you guys in America, have a good Thanksgiving and enjoy your your day, your dinner with your family. If you guys have it off, enjoy it. Eat all the food you can. And we'll be there soon, guys. Early access is around the corner.
I believe, or at least a type of. There will be one pack in the map that's always there, but all the rest of them are random. And what the kind of main point we were trying to make with that is that in POE2, we pretty much all monsters. I mean, look, there are some like monsters that are just like swarmy little things that don't really do anything, but for the most part, monsters all have some kind of ability or mechanic or interesting thing going on with it. And so, in endgame, it really is the fact that you've got the combination of all those different types that really makes the combat interesting.
Yeah.
And you kind of never really know what you're going to get. And so, I mean, look, POE1 does have that effectively the same idea going on. It's just that so few of the monsters in POE1 actually have like different mechanics, right? Like like 1 in every 5 might do, but it's like in POE2, it's like there are so many more things going on. They have movement skills and like random abilities and things like that. It's just there's just a lot going on with them. So that it's the combination of that really gets you that really introduces that stuff.
Perfect. No, I love that. I love that there's a little bit of a theme that's there as you're hunting these different biomes and maps, and then the rest of it.
Right. But the thing is, you're still going to get like some pretty out of place stuff. Like I know, like I went into a city map the other day and there's a gorilla attacking me, and I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing here? But the end game's like that.
Are the bosses the same for every map? I'm sure they are. Like you're not going to get a gorilla boss in the series. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the bosses are picked for the map if they spawn. Later on, we're talking about making it so that there are different, even within one map, we might have a couple of different bosses that can spawn there. But we'll kind of have to see how we go about that. It does take a bit of work.
Football all day tomorrow.
And it kind of depends a bit on like how many maps there are versus how many.
That's why I love the American Thanksgiving day for you guys. They actually play NFL football all day, starting at 12:30 tomorrow. That's awesome.
Bosses and that kind of stuff. So that can be fun too.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Sounds like some people would just get shocked as they walk in. That's how I expect to be when I walk into the pinnacle boss, whoever it is, for the first time. I expect to just get like Cirrus die beamed, and it's like, oh, all right, well, got to build up defenses better. I can't wait for that.
Pinnacle bosses are going to be hard.
Note too, all the boss arenas look like they have so much detail within them, and they're so
definitely got to build up armor, resistance, all your line of defenses.
The example I saw that
they're going to be getting one shot.
Is like now in the heart of a volcano. Is the level of detail and distinction there for a lot of the boss fights?
Yeah, so effectively we're trying to make it so that like ideally when we're using a boss in maps, we can put it in a different context so that it feels like a different fight.
Okay.
That like I mean, look, we have to definitely reuse certain components of the arena because often there's arena mechanics that we have to make sure are there. But even just the feel of the arena that can make it feel quite different. Like for example, if you're talking about something like the Carrion Crone, who's just in the second area. She's in a much bigger arena,
so much more difficult than the bosses in the POE one.
Like all of her AoE abilities.
D4, the bosses are all just a meme. They are. Honestly, coming from Diablo to Path of Exile, people are going to have
different pattern.
Anybody coming from Diablo to Path of Exile, you're going to have a complete eye-opening experience, especially with bosses. The bosses are going to be a whole different level, different mechanics, each boss, and I think they're just going to be very tanky. It's not about damage numbers coming to Path of Exile. It's more like building up your defenses. You have 4 main line of defenses, so definitely need to juice those up, and then you're not going to be hitting for billions of damage. It's not about that. It's more your defenses and trying to have a healthy balance between the damage and your and then hitting those caps like your resistances, your defense, your armor. So it'll be a big game changer.
Like the fight actually feels quite a lot more advanced when you fight at a map for that reason, just because the arena's different and like the placement of all of the markers that the designers use to configure all that stuff. Like there's a lot more that's gone into that. So effectively that can make recontextualize the fight in quite a cool way.
Oh, that just sounds so exciting. How many of these are we getting on launch? Is it around 50?
Yeah, so the 50 bosses, like I mean, all the bosses that you have through campaign are in endgame in some way.
Okay.
So it's just a question of whereabouts, how we use them, and so on. But of course, then there's also the bosses that are in endgame that aren't in the campaign as well. So there's quite a bit of that too.
Yeah, the secret pinnacle that I'm going to try to get you to leak at some point during this interview.
You'll have to wait. I definitely won't be leaking that one.
Okay.
It's funny.
All right, next question also on Endgame. So previously, I think earlier this year in an interview, you mentioned that once you get to Endgame, about a third of the loot will come from pack monsters, a third will come from special mechanics, and a third will come from bosses and maps. Now with bosses only being in every 4 maps on average, is that philosophy still the same, or has that shifted a little bit?
Yeah, so that definitely has shifted due to the change to the way the mapping in game worked. So I mean, this was always a struggle, right? Because the real thing wasn't so much the amount of loot, but the amount of time you're spending on things. And I think that having to spend 1/3 of your time, if you're not interested in doing boss fighting right now, is a little bit high and definitely wasn't working. So I really we like to give players choice about what type of content they can fight, and we realized the bossing was also one of those type of things, right? Like, do you want to do bossing or don't you? So yeah, I think that the balance of that is a lot better now, and I honestly don't know what the percentage would be now that you sort of have control over it at this point, but effectively, yeah, like that has definitely changed around due to that.
Okay. And in testing, how is pack difficulty versus boss difficulty? Are bosses just way harder? Like, I know a lot of people say like, oh, I want to chill when I'm fighting packs, and then when bosses, they can be really intense. Is it kind of that difference?
Yeah, exactly. And look, the big reason for making the change of not having a boss in every map area was literally for this, right? To make it so that we can make the bosses actually hard relative to relative to the pack difficulty, because that's what sort of that sort of maintains the integrity of the combat system, if you will, because like that's where you really have to get into the detail, like really concentrating and like actually using all your abilities to the maximum. Whereas pack clearing, you can chill out a little bit more. But that being said, we still want you to run into rares occasionally that are like crazy. So it's you still want that, but they're not going to be as crazy as the uniques are.
Okay, awesome. Rapid fire question on Endgame: why does the Waystone or map opening UI still have 4 slots? Is that intentional? Is there something that hasn't been revealed?
So we actually had 4 slots when we started POE1 as well, even though we had no idea what we were going to use that for. So it's just like one of those things where it's just like you put it in there. It's like, maybe we'll use this one day. There's literally no other reason than that. We had 4 in the back of the old days, and we're going to just do it again now. Just it's fun little thing. And look, one day I'm sure we'll find something to do for that.
Okay, I love it. No, I didn't know that about Path of Exile 1, that it was always 4. That's hilarious. That's good. All right, another one that could be a little long. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a simple answer. So it sounds like there are currently 4 tiers of endgame boss or endgame encounters, but technically from what we saw from the Atlas passive trees, we can get plus
4
5
tiers
to those encounter levels.
Right.
Is the 5th tier meaningless, or is there an extra secret tier?
So what happened there is I'm a programmer, so I always count from 0. So when I say difficulty 4, it's like the first difficulty is difficulty 0, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's technically 5 difficulty tiers there, but I referred to the top one as difficulty 4. So maybe the players will refer to that a different way than I am, but yeah, that's just what that is. Now technically, it is actually possible because of the fact that the small nodes and the big nodes are the way they are. It's actually possible in some cases to cause it to be 1 tier even above that. But if you do that, it will not result in the difficulty being higher. That's actually kind of just a quirk of the way that the nodes are. So that's just effectively capped in that regard, which I guess might be kind of fun to have like an extra sort of hidden thing like that. But we decided not to in the end. So yeah, there's just there's effectively 5 difficulties, 4 difficulties above the bottom one. Yeah.
I know you're saying that, but everybody needs to try that on launch, okay? There's a hidden difficulty, maybe that they don't want us to know about.
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
No.
This one might be pretty quick too. So how high in tier do Waystones go? We saw tier 79 in the endgame teaser. Is that
so I mean the way what it's supposed to be is like T15 is like it goes from T1 to T15. I think it might have been that it was listing object level there, and there might even have been some inconsistencies between different clips depending on when they were shot. I'm not 100% sure about that, but
so 15 tiers.
T15. However, there is a corruption outcome that can go +1. So that lets you that just lets you go a little bit further.
Interesting.
I love that.
With that.
Okay, so it was potentially like a monkey issue. That's what I'm going to
last
call
night. So that's new information. New information to me.
If you like.
Okay.
So you can add on top of the tier 15 with a +1.
Game for now. Now I just want to go into a few general questions about the game. Some rapid fire, some a little bit longer. This first one. I'm curious, going into early access, what's one system you are hyper confident won't need further iteration, and one system you're pretty sure is going to be broken under the weight of the players and you're going to need to have a lot of iteration on?
It's a really hard question. Look, I think that where I'm most happy is like all the way the skill and support system works, I think is very solid. Like I'm very happy with all of that. I think it's just a massive improvement over how POE1 was. I would say that the stuff that's going to require a lot of version will definitely be end-game stuff, right? Because like that's the stuff that's had the least testing from players, you know, from base.
So maybe some of the bosses are going to be like too strong.
I have no idea what kind of changes we may want to see there.
Possible
like,
to be.
I'm pretty confident in it, but
hopefully all the in-game mechanics are fine though.
Actually, go for that. So you know, I mean, look, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that could need changing there, and we'll just have to work on that as we see the players, as we see what the players think. But the other thing as well is that of course the end game is where you know there's the most I guess like you have to get it right completely, because it's like that's kind of like your final, like the final experience you're having is like playing through that content. So it's like you can have a single boss fight that's like, you know, maybe people don't like it in campaign, that's like not a big deal. But if you're talking about just the you know the core staple of what it is that you're doing in the end game, you have to make sure you get that exactly correct. And even the tiniest details can significantly affect the experience. So, you know, I'm sure there'll be a lot of tweaking there, and like some things maybe just like a tiny number tweak, but it ends up being like a massive difference as far as player experience goes. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot of iteration there.
Okay. Now, one system that I've had a little bit of discussion about in my community is the flask changes. Are you pretty confident in those, limiting you to just having a life and mana, or do you see yourself perhaps allowing that for a wider variety of flasks in the future if you want to reintroduce them?
I do think that it is important to make it so that is as simple as possible, because it really is one of those friction points you get for new players. But I think the charm system is really where we can go wild there. And so I think if we were doing like more kind of interesting stuff or like expanding on that, I think we'd do it in the charms where you know we can. That's kind of intended to be, you know, the thing that you can you know, expand on with that stuff. I just don't want it to turn again into a situation where you feel like you have to constantly be pressing buttons like all the time in order to be able to do that stuff, because I think that really was kind of wearing on people. And it's like, if you're going to be pressing buttons, I would rather the buttons you're pressing are for using active skills rather than just using flasks. So
that's kind of nice. So
sort of move some of the like physical
just only having a health and mana
flask buttons and move it on to using skills.
Kind of like that actually.
Okay. All right. This is a tough one. Maybe not for you. Over the past 6 or so years, what has been the single most challenging aspect of development? I know it's broad.
Yeah, so I think really the big challenge is just underestimating like the scope of what it is we set out to do. And it's one of those things where we're constantly having to, you know, it's like we have a quality level we want to hit.
Yeah.
And it feels like it shouldn't be as difficult as it is to hit that quality. Like it just really is a constant battle. Yeah, I mean, look,
I think that Jonathan, though,
it is difficult.
I think that's why so many people are resonating with this release. It's very obvious that you have hit a high quality level here. I mean, it's spread like wildfire. I saw you talking to DM and Ghazi and surprised at how many people are interested. I am having people who I haven't talked to in like a decade reaching out to me about POE2 because they're searching and they like saw my face or something and they're like, holy crap, there's this new game I just heard about. Like, it's spreading everywhere because the quality is so...
spreading like wildfire.
Ready to showcase it, right?
I don't think he realizes how many people are going to be jumping on Path of Exile 2 on early access.
Like just getting there has just been something. When we announced in 2019, we thought that we were going to be releasing POE2 in like 2020, in like 2021. Like it felt like it was like 2 years out. Right. And you know, like it's difficult, right? Like just the and even it's like even like. Is it how long ago now? I'm thinking like so 20. Yeah, look, it's like the funny thing is it always
running numbers in his head already.
How far deep into development, like no matter how
far
millions,
always, without a doubt. I don't doubt that at all. 2 years to be honest,
like forever in the future, and so therefore, like no matter what,
it's going to be millions for sure. If not,
like, we can do it in that amount of time.
Hundreds of millions. I don't know, dude.
And so yeah, it's just real tough.
especially on a weekend.
It feels
They're
like
doing
no
it on a
matter how much
weekend too.
experience we get. I mean, obviously, you know, Mark and I have both been in Ganondorf
And it's a free to play game.
No matter how much experience you get,
Well, I mean,
it still feels like it's
on
impossible
launch
to
it'll
really
be.
know how
You still
long something will
gotta
actually
pay
take,
for the
by
early
the time
access,
you've,
but
by the time you've
still.
gone things through. So yeah, it's just it's tough.
It's,
tough for sure.
yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
I know you said it always feels like 2 years away, Jonathan, but 9 days log in, okay?
9 days.
out.
Well, 8 days now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a few really rapid fire questions here. You guys opted in for GeForce Now for POE2. Do you know if that's going to be available? For
It's going to
early
explode
access
for sure.
launch, or
It's going to break the servers with the influx of people.
I believe it's supposed to be.
I hope he's running multiple servers or something is going to be.
Hopefully that all works out and people can use that.
Awesome.
We will see though.
Now, how about the trade site on day one? Is that going to be
I feel
functional?
like Friday is going to be
so we're doing everything we can to make
maybe
sure it's the
not
case.
as
I think that
bad
some items that maybe won't
because
show
with the
up
time they're doing it on Friday,
and
but
hopefully,
definitely
for example,
Saturday
the way that
is
skill
going to
gems are
be
rendered is like completely
insane.
changed, and so I think what they're going to do for skill gems
Friday
is just,
night,
like, show the name
Saturday.
of the gem and the level rather than having
First
to work
couple
out,
days
like,
are
all
going
the
to
stats
be
and everything how that works.
full.
And I think
There's
for something like gems,
servers
it
are going to
doesn't
be
really
very
matter
full,
because, you know, like,
flooded.
there's nothing about the gem other than just like the name and the level that actually matters.
Once I log in and I'm in, I'm staying in. I'm logged in.
Correctly, but I think it's really important to make sure.
Trust me, dude. I am logged in. As soon as I log in, I'm like almost scared to log out because it's going to be impossible to get back in. So if I can get in, I'm staying in. I'm staying in for a couple days at least.
Definitely. Oh yeah, people.
I'll let my PC just run.
Now, PvP. Does that exist in any form?
I'll try to run as long as I can.
Simple duels, just like duels like you could in POE1. We're not going to be doing anything more.
There are literally thousands of people that have taken the day off Friday. Yeah, I know.
Any effort really?
I know.
It's just like, you know, like it just is what it is.
Like I said, it's like Christmas morning for everybody.
And just like, you know, just do a thing. You can do that if you want.
Cool, cool.
Monk.
Now, in
Hell yeah.
the second run,
You got to do.
do bosses once again drop?
You got to do exclamation mark vote and then type in your.
Bosses,
Here, I'll show you.
Those available in the second run through.
Exclamation mark vote space monk.
So yeah, you're going to want to look for those as well. I believe that for them that some of them are the same and some of them are different. So
that's the only way I can kind of get it to generate for the polls.
Okay, curious. Now this one.
You have to type it kind of just like that. Exclamation mark vote space.
That a lot of people have
and then type in your class.
There is
did it actually enter it?
That is audio based.
Did it work?
That plays in towns.
Maybe it did.
And everyone wants to hear the sweet
cool.
songs of Camille when they go into the Clearfell encampment.
Yeah, Monk's going to be awesome, dude. I can't wait.
Are thinking about maybe an audio slider for MTX or something like an audio adjustment maybe, or is that on your radar?
I mean, it's something that I've heard complaints about recently, so it's something that we might have to think about, but I can't say.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, 100%.
By the way, just one question.
And if people are on controller,
beeping, or is that just on my end?
People are on controller. It's going to be controller accessible, which is very nice. You can use that. Was it the WASD function also on the for the controls? So it's going to have really quick responsive times. Gameplay is going to feel really good. So it's gonna be nice. After I did it the second way and did. Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah. You're good.
Just on your end, chat.
We got monks ruling the world. Let's see how many.
Let's see.
I wonder if they'll come out with a poll like
on your end. Is everything okay?
Overall, like with all these millions of people
so I'm not sure what's going
that are going to be logging in. Like, what are going to be the what's going to be the top class? And this is like a lot of people going in blind too, right? So I'm M and K only. Yeah, okay, gotcha. My kids love controller. Gotcha. Well, yeah, because I mean, it's actually very hard for like I tried playing mouse and keyboard when I was a kid, and it was kind of hard to. I went from controller because I was always on console to PC when I was in my teens, and then it was hard to transition over. But I eventually kind of figured it out. But then, you know, now it's kind of hard. Once you go keyboard and mouse, then it's hard to go back to controller. But I like both for sure.
It's all right. It's fine. I'll just ignore it.
They're telling you to not
Both
talk about the goblins.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for that. But
okay, no, that's totally
Vampire Bat. Bat.
Okay.
What's up? Welcome to the channel. How you doing today, brother?
Items.
Giveaway.
So, in the
giveaway isn't until Saturday, November 30th. So I haven't started the poll yet. We won't be starting
A rather unfair
until November 30th at 1
as we
p.m.
have also developed a keen interest
Yo,
in the brewing of ale
that's good.
and the smoking of pipeweed.
Thank you. Thank you, Vampire Bat, for the follow. Appreciate it. Yeah, the giveaway will start at 12 p.m. Eastern. We'll start it at 12 p.m. Eastern, but it won't wrap up until 2 p.m. Eastern on November 30th, this Saturday. So that is Eastern time for the Path of Exile 2 Early Access Key giveaway. Going to give away one key this Saturday, and then we'll do another one on launch. We'll start it at the same time. So we'll announce the winner again on the 6th at 2 p.m. as well, Eastern time.
Last time people got their hands on POE2, we saw obviously the tiers, which you talked about, and can't wait to get my hands on that. We also
Thank you for the follow, though. Appreciate it.
Terms like advanced.
We're just kind of doing some POE2 talk.
The tiers,
Need to listen to some of the
So the reason
important
why that is
details.
because,
I covered a lot of this last night, but
so we didn't want to release. So what we've done in POE2 is that all of the acts, they have a much more like the items that you find in each act are like way more related to the content of that act. So like as soon as you go to the desert, you're going to be finding like all of these like Marrakech themed items and so on. So for Act 4 and 5 and 6,
I'll read it in the chat again.
A whole big set of base types that are all like, you know, related to those things. And so what we did was we're like, okay, we don't really want to like just have those dropping now because they kind of don't make sense for the content they're in. So what we decided to do was effectively make a duplicate of the base types that goes into the second set of difficulty, in second difficulty. And that way we can drop all of those there, and then that will mean that we just don't have the we don't have that we don't have to release all of that stuff now. And then effectively at the point when we release the acts, we'll effectively also release the base types at the same time, and those base types will get replaced by the and the art and everything will get replaced by the new base types that we've already got. So yeah, that's effectively the what's going on with that. Now, in in-game, there are some base types that relate to just in-game. I'm not 100% sure exactly what the situation is with regard to the art stuff that they've done there, but effectively, by the time we're sort of completely done, it should be that we're not like having to repeat any art anywhere and all that sort of stuff. But for the time being, we've just got that going on.
Oh, okay, awesome. Now, also related to items in the tiers. Obviously, tier 5 item will have amazing mods, amazing rolls, and the like once you identify it. What happens if you craft on it?
Yeah, it doesn't affect anything after you've identified it. So effectively, once you've ID'd it, like you've seen the mods are there, then effectively it is just a regular item as far as any other, like just like any other item would be. And that's kind of important because it's only really in the unidentified state when you see the tier. After that point, the tier doesn't matter anymore because like the decision that resulted from that is already decided and everything's everything's done.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for the question, by the way, MP. That was from Empyrean. Okay, another one. So, I know that you vastly increased the number of orbs that are dropping in early game, and the intent is for people to be using said orbs on crafting. Are you at all worried about how this will affect the greater economy if people decide to just hoard everything and try to post it on the trading post? I'm curious about that because I'm going to be spamming my gear, but I think a lot of people will be like, I'll just save it to trade, you know?
I think it will be fine. So the nice thing about currency is that it's self-syncing, right? Like you get to actually use all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure
unfair
use it more because they have more.
As we have also developed a keen interest in the brewing of ales
usually speaking,
and the smoking of
you don't really get hyperinflation with currency items because
Yo, Tato Rat, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hello. How's your day going, brother?
But I really hope we don't have any problems from that.
Hopefully you're having a good Wednesday.
In the game just definitely
and happy early Thanksgiving. Hopefully you're having a good day with your family tomorrow. Enjoy it. If you're in the US,
I really want to be able to keep that.
I'm in Canada, so we already had our Thanksgiving. So
just the fact that you kind of don't have
But I will be celebrating your American Thanksgiving because I am dual citizenship. So I will. It's kind of nice to get to enjoy Canada's Thanksgiving, and then I'll be enjoying America's, the U.S. Thanksgiving. I'll be watching football starting tomorrow, 12:30. Let's go Lions! I'm border town of Michigan, so if you're watching any football tomorrow, let's be a couple good games on there. Just checking out Path of Exile 2 stuff here. We're not doing that in Germany. Oh, you're in Germany. Gotcha. You're way over the seas, son. thank you for tuning into the channel. Yeah. So this Saturday, if you heard or seen some of the messages here, we're doing a Path of Exile 2 early access key giveaway, November 30th starting at 12 p.m. Eastern, and we'll wrap it up and announce the winner at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm not sure what the time difference would be there if you're in Germany. Your wife is from Michigan. Nice. Yeah, so I'm close to Michigan, more closer to Detroit side there. Continue with this chat here quick.
Scouring orb anymore, and the way that like things
nice,
are
yeah.
like, you're going to be wanting to add mods all the time.
So your wife knows how cold it gets up here then.
Sort of rules, like for example, so it used to be that when you
up this way, it's always cold this time of the year.
Random set of mods from 4 to 6.
I think you mentioned you were in Florida, so you get to enjoy some nice weather now.
Then the exalts. So like there's just more uses for that stuff. Like the
lucky.
The adding stuff definitely, happens more often.
Yeah, I heard somebody got 4 exalted orbs by the end of Act 1 and just felt so good being able to slam their items. So,
yeah, for sure.
4 exalted orbs.
Okay, runes. I know
Jeez.
they're a recent addition. I had a few questions about them.
I thought he makes some sort of remark about D4. This isn't
stats such as resistance.
I think he says this isn't ruin words.
Spicy combinations that
or something
might
funny.
remind us of fan favorite ARPG, maybe later down the line.
So we don't have rune words.
Yeah, see.
And the funny thing about that is that like
it's funny how he takes a dig at Diablo. This isn't ruin words. This is ruins.
The funny thing about that is that like what they actually remember loving was not so much the mechanic of rune words, but just the fact that all the rune words.
That's hilarious. He's just laughing his ass off.
The rune words were just crazy powerful, and so like when people are like, oh, I love rune words, it's like they think it's the mechanic they liked, but no, like it's just the items were just absolutely outrageous. Yeah, it's sort of funny how
it's too funny.
Okay.
But what I will say is that like so runes are intended to be the kind of simple ones that don't have a lot of like a lot of complexity going on. So it's the soul cores that you can put in the same sockets. Those are the ones that are intended to kind of have where there's more complexity, there's different stats, there's different things going on with them.
Okay. And with those, they're unremovable, correct? You can't take them out of here once you socket them in.
And that's just kind of our general philosophy of the fact that we want most crafting to be additive. Now, we still do have some crafting things that remove mods, but I guess the difference with the sockets is that every single mod that went in there, it's like there's no randomness to those decisions, right? Like every single thing you put in, it's like you completely controlled that outcome. So therefore, we don't feel like we have to provide a way to remove that because it's like that's entirely in your control. Whereas when you're talking about the random chance addings, like then it's like there can be ways that are also based on random chance to be able to remove that again, and then we've also got things like the omens that allow you to have more control over that. So like that sort of stuff makes sense. But for the socketables, it's like, well, yeah, it's like you chose to put that in. It's like, I think the additive philosophy works fine for that.
Okay, awesome. Now 2 more questions on items here really quickly. One of them is about splinter stack size. Now I know we want to declutter the screen for Path of Exile 2 and keep the focus on combat, but it looked like from the trailer, the stack size, for example, the Breachstone is still 300. What's the design philosophy between like 300 stack size and 25 stack size?
So they actually drop like in stacks, and the reason why that's important is because it means that we can have effects that say if there's a mod that's like 10% splinters, it means that when we drop a stack of 10, that plus 10% can actually make it a stack of 11. Which so basically it's just to give granularity so that when we're dropping them, we actually can like have the mods like a plus 10% can actually be a thing that actually does something. So that's the reason why it's 300. It isn't necessarily to change like the amount of like things on the screen or the amount of the amount of duration that it takes to actually get to the boss. It's just about the granularity for mods basically.
Okay, awesome. One more item question and then just one final question for you. Thank you so much for your time, Jonathan. I really appreciate it. Will there be vendor recipes in Path of Exile 2?
This is a good question.
So we actually decided to not do the system the same way how we did it before. So each, so basically, we no longer have the vendor recipe like idea.
It's more like a Lassie Pop. Lassie Pop.
Any combination of items in the vendor.
Yeah.
So the vendor that has that same UI is like for disenchanting. And then effectively what we've done is we've tried to pull like...
If you played Lassie Pop, you just go to a vendor. You see he has a list of random gear that doesn't show any stats or anything on it. You select what you want. Say if it's a weapon, then you click it, it takes gold. then it will you'll get the weapon. You don't know what rarity, what affixes or like damage. What's on it. We don't know. Just kind of like random affixes, and then you kind of. I like it though. It's a random system. You don't know if you're going to get a good item or a bad item, but it's kind of cool.
The different
like that.
recipes out into like benches or like items in the world or like NPCs with specific modes or things like that. Effectively, like all of those things, we want to try and make sure that they're kind of like just more discoverable than what they were in POE1. So like what we kind of want to do is like if we're going to do like for example the quality recipe where you had like 40% quality and you get a whetstone.
Yep.
Now that we've got the salvage bench, that's like a specific bench that's able to effectively replace the thing that was doing by something that effectively serves the same function, but it's like discoverable now because you've got like a bench that's dedicated to quality and also socket currency items. And if we're going to do for example, a 3-to-1 recipe, there is an item, a thing you get later, which has like three slots and then a bottom slot, and then you click the button that like, combines them. And it's like got its own thing. So effectively it means that like, it's like more obvious, like when there's stuff like that. And effectively for each time where we want to have something that's like a vendor recipe, we can sort of find a place to put it, like make it more thematic, like have a little UI for it. There's even things like well, maybe I won't spoil the other ones.
It's like he's last seen plot for sure, 100%.
Yeah. But effectively, whenever we're doing, when we need a function like that, I think it's cooler to have a specific user interface, a specific place, a specific NPC, a specific object, like something like that you find that allows for that. And so it kind of gives you a hint that such a thing even exists in the first place. And then now that you've seen that, you're like, okay, what actually goes in here? Like, what is this for? Like, then like maybe you can have like little lore hints, things like that. It just makes the whole thing a little bit more discoverable and I think a little bit more interesting. So yeah, that's effectively how I've replaced that system.
Yeah, when you said that, now I'm thinking that there could be nodes on the Atlas that house systems like this, little secrets where you could go and find these little crafting benches, which just sounds like so much fun. I know we talked about it earlier, the Atlas and the exploration aspect of it.
Right.
Huge W. I cannot wait to go in and just explore it. It's gonna be
like an infinite board.
Okay, Jonathan, I've got one last question for you, and then we'll let you go. Thank you so much for your time again.
No problem.
I want you to give me the best single reason for everyone in the chat right now, everyone watching this VOD, to buy a supporter pack and log in on December 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern.
No pressure.
I think that really probably the main thing that you're going to love is just fighting those bosses. The combat with them is just like so fun. They're so varied and interesting. Like I'm just like, there's a lot of them to fight. If you play on December 6th, there'll be a lot of bosses to fight, and I'm sure you're going to have a great time with them. It really is, I think, one of the things we're doing the best out of all the things we're doing.
Yeah, you just
Jonathan,
biggest thing is the bosses. That's crazy. 50 bosses.
Of course.
On early access.
If there's some kind of horrible fire with the servers, then I'll
here we go. See, this is
with that instead. But
even he's worried about the servers. This is what he says here. Listen to him.
If you play on December 6th, there'll be a lot of bosses to fight, and I'm sure you're going to.
That's what he says about the servers.
It really is, I think, one of the things we're doing the best out of all the things we're doing.
I think he hopes
Jonathan, will you be
under wraps, but
on December 6th?
Of course. I mean, as soon as there's some kind of horrible fire with the servers, then I'll immediately have to probably deal with that instead. But so long as there aren't any problems, I'm going to be playing absolutely.
All right, Jonathan, man, it's been great. Every time I talk with you, it's always so smooth. Everybody appreciates your time. Good luck the next 9 days. Okay?
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great,
I'll
great
talk to you later, man.
Great to talk to you.
That's cool though. But I don't know. I think the servers will be fine. I can't see. I don't know. We'll see. Everything should be okay. But like he said, he is still a little concerned. He doesn't know how everything's going to go on actual launch when everything goes live at 2 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully it'll be fine. I can't wait. Like, I'm so hyped, dude. Like, I literally, like, after, like, doing all this research every day on what class, I kind of, like, I looked over every class and I was like, what are the pros and cons to each? And that's why I kind of ended up, like, I was honestly going to go Sork, but then I was like, no, this is going to be a little too squishy. It seemed a little too simplified. And then I was honestly thinking Infernalist for Blood Mage or something, or maybe one of those. I don't know. I was kind of all over the place, but then I was like, no, the Monk seems like a safe bet overall to play on early access of the League launch. So that's why I went that direction. Like I just looked at all the fast combat, the combos, the survivability, everything seemed good. Witch looks awesome though. Witch can tame every mini boss in the game. Yeah, no, for sure. Honestly, I think Infernalist like seems like everybody's really looking at that one because like you can actually go into demon form, and it's just really cool to see you transition into something like that visually. And then it's depleting your health, which is kind of cool. But the more your health depletes, the more damage you get. I don't know what the multiplier is going to be on that. Like how much more damage are you going to be if you're like at like a tick under, on your last little bit of life. And then you can quickly pop out of demon form and then just regenerate your health back. So you're going to need something that's like going to regenerate your health very quick. Probably some sort of like life leech kind of thing or something. I'm just really curious to see a lot of these classes. Like I'm pretty happy with my choice with the monk, but a lot of them look awesome. Sounds a bit like RF, maybe stack regen. Yeah, I could see that stack regen. Yeah, like stack life regen. And it's cool with the Infernalist. You have the Hellhound. So the Hellhound is actually, you're going to summon that, and it's going to take a lot of your damage for you. So it's like kind of like a buffer. So now I wonder, can you actually spawn the Hellhound, for example, and then go into demon form, and then it would take some of the health out of the Hellhound? Or would it just automatically, it's only applied to when enemies are attacking you, that the Hellhound takes the damage? I don't know. I wonder what the other modifiers are going to be in the Ascension tree. Like we only know half of them, so. Oh, Soul Link's from WoW. Yeah, Soul Link from WoW. Yeah, see, I never got into WoW. I know that's a big L for me, but seems I do watch a lot of people. Like I've seen some streams on it. People streaming it. It's a huge game, I know. But yeah, I'm sure it is a lot like that then, in that sense. But I don't know. Like it's hard to say. Like I think probably like the Blood Mage. It looks pretty cool. There's so many different builds. Everybody's going to enjoy playing their own playstyle with it. Again, I'm going to go monk, and then I'm just working towards my skills here. So my support gems I'm kind of putting in, seeing what I can stack up with my skills. So I'm going to go like a monk invoker cold damage build. And then I've seen a lot of people kind of talking about different builds. Like this one could be good. The Chronomancer, we don't know what the other nodes are going to be. Hopefully more damage buffs to it. Because as far as we only see, it's a lot to do, just like time, stopping time, reverting time, and then getting your skills back, resetting. So I hope it's more of a build where you're not just focusing solely on that, on time rifting. Hopefully it's more on like you can actually still inflict a lot of damage and do stuff in that sense. I've seen this. It's funny, there's a node that everybody's saying, like, what the fuck is this node? It's called Spaghettification. It's legit. 3% increased movement speed, 29% increased chaos damage. So chaos damage. And then minus 13% chaos resistance, though. 23% in reduced light radius. And then 7 increased to attributes. That seems like a pretty crazy bit passive node. Yeah, that's more or less what I'm going to go with. See, a lot of people might go Chayula, but I don't know. I think Invoker is going to be kind of like the safer way to go. Talkative try. What's this guy saying? John Lake. There's lots of videos. Honestly, everybody's posting so much about gems, and there's lots of useful tips and tools and everything out there for a lot of these classes. Well, I won't be on here streaming tomorrow, but I will be back on Friday. I'm probably going to wrap it up here for today, but I will stream back on Friday, and then we're going to do our giveaway on Saturday. So over those course of those couple days, I'll try to get some more information, more videos on maybe some classes that you're deciding, or you're stuck on deciding, what class is good for me, what class do I want to choose. You're confused. Maybe you want a little bit of information to help you make that choice easier for yourself. Sam, all right, boss, I got a hour ride to the house. I'll look you up and I'll see if you are still on when I get home. I'm going to actually be off for the day. I'll be back on later this evening, probably 8 p.m. Eastern, but you have yourself a good day. Be safe. And I'll catch you on my next stream, hopefully. Thanks again for everybody who's followed me today. And hopefully one of you guys are the lucky winners out of the 2 giveaways we're going to do. One on Saturday and then one on launch. So hopefully, hoping everybody the best. And then happy Thanksgiving early, because I won't be on tomorrow. So hopefully everybody has good meals and everyone's safe. And until our next stream here. So everybody have a good night, or good rest of your day, evening, and take care. And thank you very much. Need to check your giveaway post. It says Friday the 30th. It says Friday the 30th? No, I'll have to... Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I got to change that. Saturday, November 30th is not Friday. So yeah, we'll change that. Saturday, the 30th. Thanks for the good looking, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll switch that up. So November the 30th on a Saturday, we'll start the giveaway at, I'll be on streaming at 12 p.m. Eastern on that Saturday. And then I'll open up the polls, or the giveaway bot, and then we're going to announce the winner at 2 p.m. Eastern. So have a safe drive, Sam, and everybody else. Tato Rat, thank you again for the follow. Everybody else for the follow. Appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys on later. Be safe. Take care, guys. GG's. Until the next video.
Yeah. Unknown Brain. Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous. I know that I gotta stay away from all your games, yeah. I know that I found somebody else to love me one day, yeah. You'll realize the grass ain't greener on the other side, no. You did me dirty for the last time, so now I gotta say goodbye. So now I gotta say yeah, my life is lovely now, I'm focused on me. You said you were about to die, I guess the car is on E. But see, I ain't even tripping, cause I just chose to believe that somebody gon' come around and give me just what I need. I don't wanna see you finally, see you looking down and